have signal. Signal confirmed. Verifying. Decrypting. It's the History Homos podcast. Scott, William, and Patrick cutting through all the slop and trash. Informational snow crash. Go back. Go back. MK Ultra, go insane.
We got
3, 2, 1, and we're live. Welcome to the show. Joining me this week, as always, is Patrick, and also joining me this week, return guest, friend of the show, Adam. Welcome back to the show, Adam.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, I reached out to Adam because he's a good guest on the show, and I said, Adam, would you like to come back on the show, and what would you like to talk about? And to my surprise, to my pleasant surprise, he said, I noticed you mentioned Repo Man recently on the show. And, or it was that, or am I just projecting narcissism onto you?
I think you're just narcissistic.
Yeah. Okay.
but
Something must have clued you in that I'd seen Repo Man, though, right?
Well, I've seen you guys have been doing a lot of movie reviews lately. Oh, by the way, the Misfits episode was fantastic. I loved it, man.
The album.
I like that album a lot. I'm a bigger fan of Walk Among Us, but they're both really, really good. And I was like, well, I don't want to read a book because I'm already reading a bunch of stuff right now. And I was like, let's do a movie. I know a lot about Repo Man, and it's got a pretty amazing soundtrack, so maybe we can mix the two genres together.
Not just that, but it's like I don't want to say shockingly or surprisingly, but it has a remarkably deep rabbit hole of things you could talk about in this film, as well as it being just a fun popcorn punk rock 80s movie.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this movie for the first time on accident. I think it was playing on like A&E on a Sunday afternoon when I was hungover when I was like 17 in high school. And I think I turned to A&E channel 38, I think it was, like right at the point where they were like moshing at the party at the start of the movie.
Right. Nice.
When Duke comes back. And I was,
you're like, this is for me.
I was a punk rocker back then, and it was pre-internet. So anything that had any sort of hint of punk in it, you were like automatically had to figure it out and know all about it and take notes
same.
on
I was in
what
this,
they're wearing. And
I had the internet, but I very much was the same. Like, it wasn't I was early enough where it didn't become they didn't sell Ramones t-shirts at Walmart yet, is basically what I'm trying to say.
They weren't. They got the newest one I noticed is the Crimson Ghost Skull Misfits shirts at Target.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Well, they don't own that
Inevitable.
logo, so I'm not surprised that they're able to that any company could sell that item.
yeah.
Their IP
Um,
gets tossed around like a hot potato. It's kind of crazy. Those poor guys.
Yeah, but anyway, this would have been like 1996. Saw the movie, went to the mall, got the VHS tape at
right.
Suncoast. Was that the
Suncoast
VHS?
Video, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
We had a
got it
Suncoast, yeah.
got it there, and never stopped watching it since.
Yeah.
Shown it to a lot of people. Nobody really gets it. Don't ever show it. If you guys, incels that listen to the show, I know there's a lot out there. You ever get a date with a girl, don't bring this movie along. They don't really like it. Yeah,
All
I
signs
actually
on
I've had the
in
exact
this.
opposite exact opposite experience.
I guess I never dated the level of chubby goth girl that you were into, though.
True. You're right. Yeah. Well, they're just happy to be with me, obviously.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a gift.
yeah.
Look at
um
read so many books. Look at them go.
yeah, well, that's
Okay.
funny we bring that up because literally me and Adam were just chatting yesterday. Well, let's jump into there's a reference in this film that I'd never noticed until yesterday when Adam sent me this WordPress article by some literally who, and he pointed out that in the article it pointed out that the in the hospital scene they say paging Dr. Benway, which is like in classic William S. Burroughs reference from Naked Lunch, which got me on the topic, of course, as to why I would have read Naked Lunch because it's a disgusting, shitty book.
I
But I admitted to him the reason why I read Naked Lunch was to seem more interesting to goth girls.
Yeah. And I responded with, I just got neck tattoos on a motorcycle.
Yeah, both
nice.
work. Both
Yeah.
work pretty well.
All right.
But
Uh,
what's it called?
in the hospital, the paging, if you listen closely, there was one where like, Mr. Lee, please return the scalpel, Mr. Lee.
Yep.
And then right before the shootout in the stairwell, please no noise in the stairwell, no noise in the
Yeah.
it's the movie is like I don't know,
Packed
like
with jokes.
it's like 3 levels back. It's like if you were watching it on the stage and there's so many things happening at once. It's very fun I've seen this once. I can tell this is gonna be a joy to rewatch.
Yeah, this will
Yeah,
become one of your favorite movies if you let
This
it.
is already is,
It's one of those
honestly.
ones where you're gonna find something new the first 50 times you watch it.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
gonna pick up something else.
Yeah, that okay, yeah. So this is the key thing I want to say that sort of paints my entire take of the entire movie is there's something about this movie that it embodies the I guess well, okay, little preface. Adam, I don't know how deep into History Homos lore you are, but prior to me becoming a podcaster, I worked briefly in film, and it was based off of this sort of lifelong childhood to adolescent obsession with being a filmmaker. And me and my friends would all make movies after school and stuff. And I think this movie, out of all of the movies I have ever seen, it embodies the sense of play that you get when you make your own movies, essentially.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. There were a lot of parts where I thought that guy's about to get his legs run over. No one's watching, no one cares, no one's paying attention. This is
Well, that
art in
too, but I just
action.
mean like the sense of like free. The
Oh yeah.
movie genuinely has a vibe of free association, sort of stream of consciousness, and the comedy comes from where we went, the kind of thing.
Hmm.
And as a result, it has this like even though there's bad jokes in it, there's really bad deliveries, particularly because one of my key criticisms of the movie overall is that and again, I realize this is a budgetary issue, so it's not their fault, but one of the key problems of the movie, technically speaking, is that they relied on ADR for a lot of the dialogue in it.
Mm.
which is when they go into the studio and re-record the audio because the mic audio when they were shooting on location was bad.
Got
I
it.
was
And
gonna bring that up. Yeah, I noticed
yeah,
quite a bit of
and the
it. Yeah.
ADR in it is tough at times, particularly with the character Archie. Like they got a totally different guy to do the voice.
Yeah.
I'm convinced. Like to do when he's speaking off camera, it's a totally different guy than who was on camera.
They
Yeah,
got
I don't think they needed that voice for Archie, but it is an iconic voice. Like when he
Enchanté.
Dookie Wookie hurt his little hand.
That's it. Oh yeah, Dick Rude, by the way, goes,
yeah.
that's it, Archie. You're out of the gang now, just for that.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's just some incredible one-liners delivered, especially out of Harry Dean Stanton in there,
Yeah.
like at the point where he's like, no commies in my car, no Christians either.
Yeah.
And then
Cut
just
to the next
like
scene.
when Otto says to Layla, fuck that shit, when she's like, what about our relationship? Just stuff like
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
man.
He hits her
Just,
with the B joke, basically.
yeah.
The- yeah. Dude, right from jump, they're giving him shit in the grocery store that he's working at. He's got this guy whistling in his ear. Um, and the first line, what was it? He's like, the manager, are you listening to me? The security guy, hey, are you listening to him?
And he goes,
Oh,
you're not paying attention
yeah,
to
yeah.
the way that you're spacing the cans. It's
Oh,
come to my attention that you're not paying attention to the way you're
Yeah.
spacing the cans.
that's so funny.
It's just a
And
ponderous asshole. And everybody knows this archetype of guy, by the way. Something that means literally less than nothing. The product in question, I believe, was some kind of soda or juice or
Yeah.
something. And ergo, it sells itself. It's goy slop. Like it's not like people are going like, I wanted to buy the goy slop, goy drink, but I'm not going to because it's a little off. It just doesn't have the visual aesthetic I was looking for my shopping experience.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's our first introduction into the world of just the generic cans and food, and
Yeah.
everything is just says drink,
let's get
beer,
a drink.
food, meat flavored. Um
Food. Yeah, the
the
can of food when he goes to visit his
Yeah, it
parents in Edge
says
City. Yeah.
food, meat flavor underneath it. And
Yes.
but then at the same time Kevin is singing the 7 Up song.
Yeah.
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 And you know, the thing that took me a long time to finally figure out was the manager of the store is Kevin's dad.
Oh, wow.
No
I didn't
shit.
realize. I thought he was having gay sex with him in that scene.
No. Well, I mean that could no, because that's I think because that when that after that scene, they go to the party, and I think that's Kevin's parents' house.
I did think they looked
Oh,
alike,
wow.
that
You're
kid.
right.
And then when they're in the hospital,
Kevin's
he finds
glasses
Kevin
are
in the
busted.
hallway. He's all fucked up because they kicked his ass when they
Yeah.
went to the manager's house.
Yeah, I thought they just kicked the
Interesting.
manager's ass though.
No, but yeah,
but that's hilarious. Well, let's okay.
Okay, sorry.
We're getting the cart before the horse. But
Hey,
yeah, I know
I
he's
love
talking to you.
it.
There's not many things I know a lot about in this world, but yeah, those like that, Scott, is like what took me probably 25
Yeah.
times watching the movie to pick up on.
Same. I did realize that movie. I want to say it was like 8 or 9 years ago. I went on a trip to the White Mountains, and there was a video rental store, and we rented movies there. And this
Yeah.
was like 8 years ago, which is crazy that you could rent movies in a physical store. And the first night we got Repo Man, and we all noticed that for the first time, and it was like I was like, "Oh my God, this movie's fucking brilliant!" Like,
Yeah.
So funny the way that scene where the manager, Kevin's dad, just gets the door knocks on, opens the door and just bat to the belly. He's yelling and cut to the next scene. Like
Yeah.
they dwell on it in no time at all. The movie does not explain itself to you one bit. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Everything's played straight. It felt like a Zucker film at times. Like it felt like proto Naked Gun type of
yeah, well,
just
it's post Naked Gun, I think.
Naked Guns
It's pre-Naked Gun.
Oh, it is
late
okay.
late 80s. And
Yeah.
but they were the police
So it's
squad
post
and all that
Airplane though.
stuff. Oh yeah,
Yes, post
exactly.
Airplane.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's got a lot of like you said, Scott, it feels alive. It feels like this happened, in the way that like a coin falls out of your pocket and just rolls on
Yeah.
its side. It's perfect. They just rolled with it.
Okay, so
It's
let's
great.
do nuts and bolts though. So the film is Repo Man, obviously. It follows 18-year-old Otto, a young white suburban punk from LA, from Goon City, Edge City in LA, which is like I believe it's a concept that was coined by what's his name? That fucking
His name Alex Cox.
Alex Cox is the director, yeah. But
Yeah.
the term Edge City is coined by what's that shitty book? It's like trying to be the road. Um Electric Kool-Aid Acid. Tom Wolfe. Tom Wolfe. Tom Wolfe coined the term Edge City, which is like this. It's like about It's basically criticizing white flight, basically, by being
Okay.
like it's where white people escape to the suburbs to get away from real culture, man, and they
Yeah.
build like a little ersatz city on the outskirts of the suburbs or whatever, and this is like what
That's what the all of Los Angeles is,
yeah,
you know.
Mhm.
yeah.
And yeah, so the only reference to this is the when you
The
see it on the
bus.
bus, and then but another Alex Cox, the director, right?
That was his first film title, yeah.
Yeah, his name. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
His student film. But it's funny because this does come off as a student film in a good way, mind you. But
Hmm.
it comes off as a student film. But yeah, his first film is like this. Is I haven't seen it actually, but I've heard it's kind of interesting to watch. It's on YouTube if I'm not mistaken. But Alex Cox did a film called Edge City, so we really like this concept of. But I think he has a pretty not interesting. It's a pretty normal '80s libtard POV, frankly.
which
But
is refreshing,
yeah, it is
by our
actually.
standards.
That's
Um,
true.
I mean, and just for what it is, I mean, you can correct me if I'm totally, I have plenty of holes in my film history knowledge, but this was, very any other movies do, like hardcore punk so upfront, being the
Suburbia.
Suburbia, and that was like the
suburbia.
same time as this, and then there would have
Yeah,
been
I
the
guess SLC
documentary
Punk in a way.
Decline of
Mhm.
Western Civilization, but
Yeah.
that's a documentary. So
Right. Yeah, so I mean it's very rare that, you have suicidal tendencies and so on being played like, very
I believe
prominently
that's
and
how they sold the film to Universal, if I'm not mistaken, because they would get the rights to all these songs and be able to release the LP that Adams has with him right now, by the way.
no, no
yeah,
And
shit.
right here.
they made more money on the
They planned on
LP
that.
than the initial release of the film.
That's
Yeah,
yeah. Well, that's what I read in that article you sent, or maybe in that video you sent me, is that there was initial theater run of this, and it did so poorly that they pulled it after a week, but then the soundtrack did so well, sold like 50,000 albums,
Yeah.
that they re-released the movie back into the theaters, and then it got a raving review from
Roger Ebert.
Roger Ebert, and
He loved it. And
picked
I
it up.
watch, by the way, I actually do want to say this is all of the movie review episodes we've done in like the last 3 months or so, I have gone directly to Roger Ebert, Siskel and Ebert reviews of it. And it's just
really.
an interesting, like, it's just I never predict who will like what. Like most of the time, I agree with Siskel. He's like honestly is like a way more refined taste, in most
Yeah.
generally speaking. Like I remember we did talk about this when we were just doing the Blue Velvet episode, because
Mm.
Ebert was like, he had the most insane take about Blue Velvet. He was like, it's insulting to Isabella Rossellini or something. And Siskel's like, no, that's fucking stupid, basically. Like, like it's she knows what she was doing. She's an actress.
I
And
mean,
but meanwhile, Siskel
yeah.
hated Repo Man and fucking Roger
No
Ebert loved
shit.
it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't quite know. I can just picture them, and that's about as much as I can differentiate
It's a
them. Uh,
little bit early of a reference for you.
they're kind of like like Bert and Ernie in my head, really.
Sure.
But they
They were a big deal, man. That show was
oh
on
yeah.
for
Yeah,
a long time, and they ended up.
30 years.
I think they just despised each other by
Yeah.
the end. But
My
what?
favorite thing is that Roger, this is totally
So
sidetracked, but fucking Roger Ebert was insistent that Home Alone 3 was better than 1 and 2.
I didn't even
And
know
then
there was part three.
And Siskel's like, you're insane for this. Like, that's the most absurd thing anyone's ever said. Like,
You're gonna sink us, Robert, with these ideas of this bullshit you're spewing.
yeah.
People aren't gonna take us seriously anymore. And Home Alone 3. What's next? Jaws 3?
D. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, but let's go back to the movie.
Repo Man 3D.
Okay, I
That's
won't
what I need to
interrupt.
see.
Let's get into the
No,
plot.
you can interrupt. In fact, that's
Please.
probably a pretty good way for us to operate. But
absolutely.
because that's what the movie is, for the record.
Wrestle
Like
the
I said,
monk.
stream of consciousness. Yeah, there's a through line and there's a beginning and end point. But the way the twisted tangle or the twisted webs we weave is the
Yes,
beauty
yes.
of the beauty of the whole. I guess.
It's the weave, man.
Dude, this is
It's
a
an
mysterious weave.
interlaced set of coincidences.
This
Yeah.
is about as
The
mysterious and
lattice of coincidences.
A lattice of coincidence.
yes,
That's right.
perfect.
Yes.
There you go. This movie is about as mysterious as a weave you find on like in the gutter. Like you cannot ever figure out where it began and how it got here.
You're talking about a ghetto tumbleweed.
Oh yeah, that's
Well, we know where it came from, Patrick. It came from India.
Yeah.
oh, fair enough. Yeah, from
You know,
the
I
horse's
saw
ass.
at my old apartment in Oakland, I saw two girls with strollers and children in them fighting out in front of my apartment, and that's how a weave gets in the gutter.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
is how.
family reunion.
That's science, folks. Trust the science.
So, dude, I trust the science, and the
Astronauts.
science says don't open the trunk. All right.
Yeah,
For
I love how many.
crying out loud.
You know what? Something actually took me a long time to realize how many times they tease somebody almost opening the trunk
Yeah,
Mhm.
in this movie.
Dude.
Like,
yeah. A guy walking past the car just like looks at it and stops and really plays like he's going to
yeah,
just check it and then keeps walking. And yeah, it's very funny. And one guy just gets goaded into it. He was already out of the gang. He had nothing to live for. What was his name?
True. Archie.
Archie.
Archie. Poor Archie. The gunplay in this movie is fantastic. Good old 80s squibs and that's fun
Yeah,
too.
misfires that made it in the final cut.
Yes,
Love
please.
that. I love when
More of
he's
that.
making his hand light, uses his hand to go like this to make it. By the way, the most inaccurate way that a gun was ever been shot in a film.
What,
Um,
what did he say after? He was like,
Blanks get the job done too.
Yeah, which is So I guess that they
By the way,
probably
that's
looked at
terrible advice to give anybody as far
Yeah,
as
no.
firearms go. By the
Yeah.
way,
don't. Yeah, you carry
Yeah,
the blanks.
don't cover when I'm stealing a car. Don't cover me with blanks, please.
yeah. All right. We really get just please let me get to the the setup of the movie, Patrick. Jesus
What's it
Christ.
called? What's this movie called?
So
Repo
it
Man?
begins. The film begins. The film follows really the car. It does sort of follow Otto, but it really follows the car. And it's a 1969 Chevy
64.
Malibu, 64 Chevy Malibu. My apologies on that.
I'm gonna
And-
actually on you all
Please,
episodes,
dude,
so-
I need to be
Please.
taken to task. I usually run rampant with bullshit and half remembered factoids on this show, so it's good. But yeah, so it's a 1964 Malibu, piloted by the developer of the neutron bomb, who is he's supposedly carrying the corpses of two aliens in the trunk of the Chevy Malibu. The photo is actually two condoms filled with waters wrapped in a hula skirt.
Yeah.
I was squinting at it for a while and I could make out the two condoms and I thought, all right, that's enough. Okay.
But yeah, his journey started at where Los Alamos, right?
Right, yeah, and you see that in the opening credits graphic, which is pretty cool actually, and I never noticed
Opening
that.
credits are really cool, man. Just
Yes.
and getting into that feedback, it plays the feedback, and then that first note of the Iggy Pop song, and I'll know that first note forever. It's a
Dude.
good song.
Absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. Just especially musically, you'll remember a song and the opening credits, like you said, just for no reason. Especially if you're from that area, I imagine it's very cool.
Hmm.
Which,
Seeing
many,
your
many
town,
people are.
seeing your town on there.
Yeah. So, I kind of knew from the beginning, as soon as that first note hit, I thought this movie is on the ball. Like it's on rhythm. Yeah. So kid's just what, kicking cans. He's working it. He's stacking cans wrong. Uh,
Well, I think the more important thing to bring up is the aliens in the trunk. So yeah,
oh that.
the cop pulls him over, and by the way, I gotta say that this is like a extended reference, even though it's utilized 3 or 4 different times. Fuck, I forget the name of the movie now. It's like a 1950s like
Yeah.
science fiction noir.
I,
What's the
I I saw that for the first time in that video you sent me. I can't remember what it's called.
I knew that I got this after probably because we watched that movie in
Not
film
the
class in high
Twilight
school.
Zone.
No,
But
it's
but so check this out. This just popped into my head. So the guy gets pulled over by the chippy. Guy asks what's in the trunk, gives him the keys. Guy opens the trunk. There's glowing orange light, yellow light, um, comes out and flashes. You see the cop's skeleton, and then
Mhm.
and
So
then the
good.
next thing you know is the only thing there is his boots. Do
Right.
you think Quentin Tarantino saw that for
Absolutely.
Pulp Fiction?
Absolutely.
Dude, yeah, same thing I thought was the suitcase, and the skeleton thing has probably been it's probably been used a million times. It felt
Mhm.
familiar when I saw it here, and it was like I haven't seen this movie before, but I've seen other people who've seen this movie
Yeah.
before, their work, for sure. It's fascinating. And it's the best effects ever that you could get on a million and a half budget. Like
Right.
they knew what they had to work with, and they knew where the audience did not need something where they could have gone, realistic. They instead went for funny and effective.
Yeah, and they had to
It's
make that
great.
million and a half work because what I found out also was that it was called what's called a negative pickup.
Negative pickup,
So
right.
they had to put up I think it was $1.8 million is what they got cleared for, but they had to pay Michael
Ahead of
Nesmith
time.
had to pay out of pocket for it, and then upon delivery would get paid. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
That is absolutely right. And Mike Nesmith was good for it because he was in not only was he in the Monkees, but his mom
He's the heir to the
liquid
whiteout
paper fortune.
fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I've had this thought before, by the way, Adam, is that this guy is like some sort of like rich kid plant in music, in like the music industry or whatever. Because yeah, I mean his mom invented fucking liquid paper and was like a
I mean,
gazillionaire.
we could probably get into a
Kiss
whole
Me Deadly. Kiss Me
weird
Deadly is
Kiss
the
Me
film,
Deadly.
by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could get into a whole bunch of weird scenes inside the canyon if we wanted to do Michael Nesmith stuff. Because didn't Charles Manson try out for the Monkees?
Yep, he did. You're right about that, actually. I forgot
So,
about
but
that. So yeah, they probably had multiple.
let's not do that on this episode. I think that
That's
would take
fair
us too
enough.
far down there's enough other stuff that's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah, no.
agree.
So
But yeah, but Michael Nesmith did fund the film in toto, and as you said, Adam, it was like they had signed an agreement with Universal that Universal would buy it provided they came in on the movie with this budget and not a penny more.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's probably a good way to make a movie on, I mean, it makes people motivated to get it done and get it done right?
yeah, and I think I gotta say, and this is probably a cold take, honestly, but I mean, like the restrictions of budget, not always budget, but technology specifically can create some awesome workarounds and unique fixes for this kind of thing. And this movie is definitely one of those.
Yeah.
Um,
mm,
Plus, I think the studio also provided I think they gave him like Emilio Estevez at like a cut rate, even though he was something of an item at the time.
What had he done? He hadn't really done. He
Well, he's
hadn't gone
Martin
on to.
Sheen's son.
Yeah, he's
There's
Martin
that.
Sheen's son, but he hadn't gone on to do such great movies as Men
The
at
Mighty
Work,
Ducks
Men at
2.
Work, or Young Guns yet.
Yeah, true. That's true. This is
Um,
when I think of Emilio Estevez, I think of this movie though, frankly.
did you ever? Yeah, me too. Did you ever hear like what I always heard about him was that he changed his name because he didn't want to be in his father's shadow. You buy that?
Well, I think that what there was some I mean Angelina Jolie, same generation of actors. And there's a couple other people who
Who's her
are
dad?
Nick Cage.
John
John
Voight.
Voight is her dad, yeah.
Right.
And
That's
Nick
who.
Cage is a Coppola, and they all changed their names in order to not be associated because I think there was like a genuine there was probably some like, oh, we don't like nepotism like in the
Yeah,
American sort of zeitgeist, I guess. So yeah, I do buy that that was the reasoning, but
yeah. I mean, it's easy to do when you know you're gonna get taken care of no
yeah.
matter what. So
Oh, yeah. A Plunder World Series 2 is back, and it's cranked up to 11. You thought the first series was intense? Ha! Series 2 takes it to the next level, brother, bringing 90 new subjects to the table. We're talking about people, technology, social conditioning, events, and some of the most mind-blowing moments in history told through 279 cards that'll have you second-guessing everything you know.
These aren't your average trading cards, Scott. We're diving deep into global control, the kind of stuff you only wish you knew about.
Exactly, Patrick. While Topps and Magic the Gathering are busy punching above their weight with their tired old designs, Plunder World is delivering dozens of all new subjects split into 3 unique cards, each with custom artwork that's going to make your jaw drop.
Did you say 3 cards for every subject?
That's right, 3. One card gives you the history, another card brings in the context, and the third, that one's all about the secrets, the conspiracies, and the stuff they don't want you to know about. Oh, and let's not forget the ultra rare cards, the sinister experiments and mind control products that will have you questioning reality.
Plunder World doesn't drop cards, they drop truths.
Yu-Gi-Oh? Please. You think that change of heart is going to save you from Plunder World? Well, guess what? I've had a change of heart. I'm done with the shadow games, and I'm diving straight into the deep, dark history of the real world. Forget about activating trap cards. Plunder World is here to reveal the secrets no one else dares to.
All right, Scott, this is sounding too good. How can collectors get their hands on Series 2?
Simple. Just head over to plunderworld.com and pre-order Series 2 today. And because you're listening to the History Homos podcast, use promo code HOMOS at the checkout to score 3. That's 1, 2, 3 extra packs. Yeah, 3. And don't miss your chance to own the cards that are flipping the script on collecting.
You won't find anything like this anywhere else.
Plunder World, where history isn't just taught, it's unleashed. www.plunderworld.com, promo code HOMOS. Get on in the action now.
But okay,
yeah,
let's get back in. Let's do the plot.
Yeah, so the plot is basically there's this car driving around LA with a crazy radiation poisoned guy with a lobotomy who invented the neutron bomb. And it's got an alien corpse, 2 alien corpses in the trunk, and everyone in the entire city is trying to get a hold of it, including Otto now. Well, actually, no, Otto isn't really looking for it, to be honest. That's kind of the unique sort of character trait of his that sort of, it actually gives him an arc a little bit. Because
let's get into how he got to become a Repo Man.
Right. So he's just like a typical punk. Oh, one thing I want to say about that's unique about his character though is he has like a fondness for order, I suppose. He
Yeah.
like has this really conflicted character because on one hand he wants to like rebel against society, but at the same time he rebels against rebellion because he likes to fold his pants before he fucks.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, and that's I think what makes him so great is people. It's funny. Adam, you said that you caught this movie for the first time just as they're what do they call it? Smash dancing,
I
slam
don't really
dancing.
like the word mosh, so I say slam
Right.
dancing.
Yeah, that's what we call it too. Moshing's for metal people.
That word
So,
was invented by one of the guys from Agnostic Front.
Oh,
I never listened to them. They did uh, uh, Billy, don't bring your guns to town. No, I'm sorry. What do you call it? That scene is the perfect place for someone to just get wrapped into the movie that loves that kind of music and is just
yeah.
surprised that this is even being shown, in the feature film.
Well, like the
Uh,
movie is a built-in audience,
yeah,
basically.
exactly.
People who are just like, yes, I'm in. I'd go because it's a movie about
Yeah,
punk rock. I'm going
Yeah,
to
and like
I'm
I
going
said,
to like it.
if it was
exactly.
1985 and you saw a movie that had, fear in the
Yeah.
movie, you're a punk rocker, you're just excited,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, it's not like seeing punk rockers in Terminator, you know? It's like it's not those guys at the phone booth or whatever the hell.
Bill Paxton.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, we're not talking about Bill Paxton here. Like these
Yeah,
are ratty kids.
they're not the punk rockers that are in like a multi-ethnic street gang like in a
Yeah.
Jackie Chan
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
So and he's kind of just he's just getting knocked on the chin for the first several scenes in the movie. Um, uh, but the way that he navigates through the film is, and he does it as soon as he's in the repo office. He's like, I'm here with you, but I'm not like you. The beer that they give him,
Yeah.
he pours on the floor, and I think Light walks in. He's like, "Oh, somebody pissed on the floor again,"
Somebody
which
pissed
is
on the
just one of
floor
the
again.
best lines.
I just love that.
So good.
And he goes, kid, usually when somebody pulls some shit like that, my first reaction is, I want to punch his fucking lights out. But you know what?
You're
all
okay.
right. You're all right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I knew it was.
I
all
love
right.
how I love how it really does give you like this feeling that it's like it is a real group of
Yes.
guys, as it were.
Yes.
And by the way, it's also I didn't notice this until somebody pointed out to me recently, was that they all have beer names.
Yeah, I didn't know that until this time around from reading those stupid
Yeah.
articles. So it's
Light.
Bud,
Bud, Light, Miller.
Light, Miller, and Oli.
Yeah.
No
You
shit.
guys have Olympia out there?
I know what it is, but I've never had it.
Yeah, it's made just up the road from me. But yeah, you can get it on the West Coast. Olympia. They call it Oli.
Nice. But yeah, so I
Yeah,
thought that
for
was funny. So the movie is like one big critique of like sort of consumerism and how I think it's also like a big critique on like the Reagan era sort of like pleasure machines era of capitalism, I suppose. You know
Right.
what I mean? And like this sort of it is a postmodern film, but it sort of critiques the postmodern capitalist era, as it were, in some clever ways. And also I think it's like another thing is I had never like a month or so ago I watched the film Valley Girl for the first time in order
Great
to do
movie.
an episode in order I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. But I watched it for the first time so I could do an episode with Monica, and I thought so then, but even more so thought so now as I watch this again. But like they're like dialectically opposed films, basically. But at the same time they're really similar because it's like an LA film and it has a lot of similar scenes in it, but the takeaways and like the spirit of it are inimical to one another. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Nicolas Cage is a new waver posing as a punk rocker in that movie.
That's true. Yeah.
I've
But
not
not just
seen
that, but I
Valley
mean,
Girl.
like literally, like this tone of it, where like the tone of Valley Girl is like against all odds, like we just come together about what we like we share values, and we make a new way or whatever. And the overall theme of Repo Man is like nihilistic,
Yeah.
like what's the word, when what's the word when you like let out your emotions, it's
Cathartic.
catharsis,
Yeah.
nihilistic catharsis, essentially.
That's a wonderful way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie feels great. You are right. And it certainly does not seem to apparently have any uh moral or ethic that it's trying to push on you or really
Yeah, it's
outwardly.
nihilistic, very much.
But
Yeah.
nothing truly is in this 8 AD time that we live in. And so like our main character, Emilio Estevez, who is perfect in this, he just right on, even his, when he's talking to you, fuck you, is just, he's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. Fuck you, queer. When he says
Yeah.
that to
Oh,
Harry Dean
so
Stanton.
Oh
hey,
yeah, you're,
hey,
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 you
want
want
to
to
make
make?
$10? Fuck you, queer.
Yeah, and that makes me happy because I was a punk rocker in the mid '90s when punks were still
Already
racist and
scolding you
still
for saying stuff.
homophobe.
Yeah.
They weren't doing. You could still get away with it back then.
Sure,
I
sure. Yeah, I think it was still kosher by the time I was around too,
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
People were still calling people fags.
yeah.
Like
they still are.
but yeah, so
Pricks.
that's a perfect way to jump into. So yeah, so after Otto's sort of feeling dejected by his punk friends, and he's sort of feeling lost. He doesn't feel like at
Well,
home in the punk.
his best friend screws his pretty hot girlfriend.
Dude,
She was
I had
British,
to.
right? She was doing it a shitty American accent, if I'm not
She was
mistaken.
nasty.
I don't think
Um,
she was
uh,
trying to hide it at all.
But sometimes in certain lines, she would say a perfectly American accented thing. It's like as if she was like, could say certain phrases in
yeah.
an American
Yeah,
accent, and then others she just didn't bother, which is great. I think it's good, actually.
maybe they just got it mixed up in post when they
That could
had
be it
to,
too, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they had no choice. They were like the only good takes are all over the place
The only
Yeah.
female in the
geographically.
editing room is British. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, she's obviously favoring the other lines, the other takes. Um,
But his buddy Duke, played by Dick Rude, gets out of juvie. They meet up at a party, and he screws his girlfriend. And Otto's bummed out, feeling
I had
like
to
maybe.
I had to replay that scene 3 times. I did not understand what happened and why. I was like, what? He left the room for a second.
He
What
went to
happened?
get her a beer, and Duke slipped right in there.
What's
You know?
going on here? I was on this guy's side immediately. I was like,
Yeah,
he's not doing nobody no wrong,
yeah.
except in
It
the
also, I think this is an interesting little note here, is that like this was a divergent point for each character, Duke and Otto. And Duke at this point, at their point of divergence, Duke got way worse, and Otto almost turned his life around, so to
Otto
speak.
embraces his authoritarianism, man.
Yeah, he does.
I can really identify with that.
Yeah. Disillusioned by the punk scene, and yeah, he just decides he's gonna be a fucking mercenary for the corporations, man.
Yeah,
And yeah, so he's leaving that sort of scene, and Harry Dean Stanton in an amazing performance. Although I will say all of Harry Dean Stanton's performances are frankly amazing.
what
Um,
else? What else would you recommend by him that he's
he's
been
in
in?
hundreds of movies. I can't even start listing. He's in fucking Alien, dude.
he's in
Yes, true.
Godfather 2. He's
He's
in
in The Godfather.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's in
he's in the
hundreds of. He's in Cool Hand Luke, dude.
Yeah, okay. Now, see, that's it's like I want to
Paris,
watch.
Texas.
That's
Yeah,
more.
Paris,
No, okay.
Texas
That's like
is a
his
good.
movie, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I should watch that. Okay.
it's pretty
Because
good.
I only know him from, very recently of, him popping into my, frame of view. But, yeah, very cool dude. Uh,
And a
um,
lot of his lines are ad libbed, and he really brings his like insane like
yeah.
guy
they had, and
perspective to the movie.
they were trying to get Dennis Hopper to do him,
Yeah,
but Dennis Hopper was so like erratic and messed up on coke at the time that they didn't want to risk it because they probably, like, we got $1.8 million. We got to make it work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't have guys not showing up.
Yeah, no,
that reminds me
Hopper
of that
is
quote when I heard about that. I don't think that David Lynch wanted Dennis Hopper to play Frank in Blue Velvet, but somehow Dennis Hopper got a hold of the script and he went to David Lynch. He was like,
yeah.
"You gotta let me be Frank. I am Frank."
He's pulling up his arm. He's pulling up his sleeves, showing him his arms. I'm good for it. Come on, let me
Yeah,
do
he
it.
brought
I'm
a tank of
straight.
nitrous with him.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Hopper, I could see him being, good at this if he could, be consistent and reliable. Dennis
I'm
Hopper.
glad they went with Stanton.
Yeah,
Though.
heck yeah, man.
Absolutely.
He's so good.
Absolutely. So good, yeah.
So yeah, let's talk
So-
about the character Bud. Actually, speaking of the Harry Dean Stanton character, he is a walking contradiction, which is what makes him so likable. Honestly, is that he's like and by the way, speaking of people you've met, this guy is like the guy who's always talking about how principled he is, or the guy who's like, man, I'm so glad I'm sober. I've never been happier in my life. And then later that night you see him drinking a beer. That's him. Like that is fucking Bud.
Yeah, he piggybacks on the back of the repo code, this code of honor that all repo men have.
None of them do.
That's what that's
by the way.
that's
They all have their own code.
That's why we all do speed.
And then this doesn't happen in the movie, but you can imagine, and that's what's fun about this movie is you can kind of imagine, other things happening. Is like, what's it called? What's his face? Otto gets in someone else's car and he's like, "Hey, so where's the speed?" And they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about? What speed? You doing speed? What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
No, I bet they all do speed for the record. It's
sure.
an all-night job.
But I think the rat in the bag gag is light. I think that's a gag. I don't know if that's an actually good method of getting someone out of a car. It might be actually throw a dead rat in the car.
That's the thing. You don't know how much of it was him fucking with Otto or not, because they do sort of haze him throughout the whole his entrance into the fraternity of Repo Man. Yes. Like remember when they're like, we don't give a shit if that somebody kicked your ass, but it makes us look bad.
Yeah,
so we're gonna go
I hated that.
That scene when they're all sitting around drinking beers and they see his black eye.
I was killing men when you were still swimming around your daddy's balls.
And that's when Miller gives us the John Wayne was a fag line, which is
iconic.
Yeah.
I still to this day bring that shit up.
Yeah, anytime someone mentions John Wayne,
a boomer
I say
goes,
that.
"Oh, that's a real man," I always say John Wayne was a fag.
Yeah, I'll always say like, yeah, my uncle installed two-way mirrors at his house in Brentwood, answered the door wearing a dress. And they'll be like, no, dude.
Boomers really have like a daddy thing with fucking John with the Duke.
The Duke, man.
So bad, dude. Yeah. What's it called? And I hated that scene where they're like trashing him, trying to get him to talk on who beat the shit out of him. It was like 7 black guys and a white guy who played the tambourine. I like music. Come on, please. No.
Oh, you want to know a thing about that? That's another one that I didn't know forever. You know what? That's the guys that are riding the scooters through the streets. I never picked that up for a long time. I knew about it this time. But that is an old, like, skinhead ska band from LA called the Untouchables. Those guys.
Oh no shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah, I knew guys, old dudes when I was around that saw those guys in the '80s in LA.
Wow. Okay. That's a piece of trivia I didn't know. I did know that it was the guys on the thing because all their scooters are outside of the place when they do that bit, which is a great bit because the first time you see it, you totally fall for it, just like Otto. So what happens is Otto goes to this old black woman's house and goes, I'd love to let you off, but I gotta take the car. He's obviously getting used to the idea of being like a corporate, tool essentially. And I'm
sorry to interrupt, but am I wrong that he wasn't going to take the car? That he was going to give her some time to pay it off?
No, he was doing a whole sales type thing.
Yeah, he was like, he was trying to get her. You got to get somebody to give you some money. And then those guys come in. He's like, oh man, there's like 6 big black dudes here now. I got to get out of here. and then he's
Six
gonna
big black dudes and Tyler, which I
yeah
thought was funny that some white guy just walks in after them.
yeah
But yeah, the
two-tone, bro.
Untouchables.
Well, yeah, he goes out, and he goes, fuck it, I'm just gonna steal the car, like I was pretty much planning to do anyway.
Brother,
And he gets in
look
the
at
car and then starts, just hot wires it and hits the gas, and you
So
hear, "Brrrr," and
It's
it's
up
on
on blocks.
jacks. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, the first time I watched, not the first time, but I mean, like every time after the first time, you look and you go, oh, that's clearly a raised up car. That's clearly on a fucking jack. How
Yeah.
could you not see it? How could someone getting into the car not realize that? But that's the beauty of cinema, and that's the beauty of comedic filmmaking, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, just every time it still gives you the same fucking laugh to see his panicked face when he
Yeah.
realizes all the black guys are gonna
Yeah,
kill him.
and as it fades out, you can hear him going like, "Hey guys!" He goes, "I'm into music too."
Mhm.
And then
White libtard, but please, I'm one
Yeah.
of the good ones.
yeah,
He is one of the good ones. He's
Is he though? He's a repo man. He's gonna take their mom's car by stealing it.
yeah,
Nah, but at the
black
end-
mom's car.
he goes places, you know?
But also the other thing is, the funny thing was, if you listen, as soon as so she's playing up this like sweet old lady thing, but as soon as you walk out of the car, you can hear inside the house, she's like, "I told you boys, you gotta bring some money home for me." It's like,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
so
Yeah.
funny.
I think she was saying that, like, I'll give you money and you're going out dancing. I know you're going out dancing. And which just, I've worked in the auto industry and I've worked in other industries where people don't pay their bills. So this was a very funny movie for me to watch. And it's like, oh yeah.
This is like a
Yeah.
perfect. I'm not gonna say what you do, Patrick. You're not a repo
Yeah.
man, but you live in you work in
Close.
an adjacent industry. We'll say.
Yeah, we're parked next door. But it's funny he's driving talking about Bud and his soliloquies about, you know, how he tries to have a
Dildos.
yes. That weird feud that he has with the Mexican brothers.
The
But
Rodriguez brothers.
The
yeah,
Rodriguez boys, the
Hermanos
Rodriguez
Rodriguez.
brothers.
They're great characters, man. Napoleon and
Humberto?
Gallardo or something.
Yeah.
Gilardo, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Bud's driving down the road and he's looking at like just all of these homeless people and he's like, look at them, they don't even pay their bills, I bet. Look at them. And
Yeah, he's a libertarian, by the way. Bud is a libertarian,
Yeah.
by the way. He hates Christians. He loves taking speed.
Hates
He
commies.
like
Nice.
he
When
wants
they-
people to think he's a cop, but doesn't actually want to be a cop.
That's
When
so
they-
funny.
When
Holy
they
shit.
race in the LA River Canal,
So
that's
good.
from Greece, huh?
No shit.
What do you mean?
Okay.
It's from Greece.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, they did that in
they
Greece,
did do
right?
that in that, yeah, but I
Yeah.
think that's an older trope.
Okay.
I think that's from like that's like one of the that's from like the 40s and like that's from a noir movie, I think.
As long
Okay.
as, you know, for as long as you've been able to, for as long as those canals have been built and you've been able to get a car down there without it, you know, falling 3 times,
Yeah.
lopsided and
It's the only place in LA where you can drive uninterrupted for like fucking like 5 minutes
wonder-
without hitting a light.
It's probably filled with homeless people now.
Yeah, true.
N-
I
not if
bet
you
it was
drive
then.
fast enough.
Actually, now I bet it was then. They probably had to
Yeah.
clear them all out so they could shoot that shot.
They
Yeah.
had a lot more mace than that one lady in that one scene.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
should we bring up the United Fruitcake Outlet?
Of course,
good.
United Fruitcake Outlet. Yeah, so they're like the CIA basically. So I can this is to this day I still can't tell if Layla works for the CIA or she's
No,
an
she
informant
works
to
for
the
the-
CIA.
She works for the United Fruitcake Outlet, the UFO. And the one thing too is the scientist with what's his name? Jay Parsons
Jay-
something.
Parnell.
Yeah, Jameson
Jay
or something.
Jay Parnell. Is he
Parnell, yeah.
intentionally transporting the aliens from Los Alamos to the UFO, to the United Fruitcake Outlet?
I'm not. Well, I know he was supposed to make contact with her, Layla, the love
Yeah.
interest, of course.
I think
But
Layla
and they-
just caves because she's a weak woman. I think
Sure.
I don't think she was an informant for the CIA or any of the blonde agents or any of that stuff.
She's
Okay.
like any other UFO goober, you
Yeah,
know.
she's MUFON.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
she
Totally
flipped. So
unaware.
that's what confused me in the metal hand licking scene. She's
she's
with the lady with the metal hand, who's obviously does work for the CIA.
she's Linda Moulton Howe.
Who's that?
That's who's that?
She sounds
She's
like
That's the
three
actress?
names. I don't like it.
she's like one of those old school UFO
Oh,
MUFON
okay.
ladies
Okay.
Okay.
who was like popped up in everything, got fed fake information, was a big
Yeah.
part of
The
what's it called?
Masters.
What's that UFO documentary that
Oh
about
Masters
no.
of Deception or something?
yeah, one of those ones. And yeah, so she's kind of like that.
Well, that's a good segue for me to talk about this. I do think the movie is making a skitsploitated
Mirage Man, that's what I'm thinking of.
Mirage Man.
I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That'd be
yeah.
a fun one to do on the
Yes.
show too.
Yeah. Well, there's that
Mhm.
book version too of the same, which
Books,
is the
yeah.
same. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got them both. The that's a good one to watch. That's if you have any semblance that there's anything real about UFOs, just watch Mirage Man. And
Yeah,
Mhm.
the
I agree.
story of-
Well, that's
the
what I
story
think.
of
I think
Paul
Alex Cox
Benowitz.
is doing the bit.
Yeah,
Alex Cox is going, UFOs are fake. It's something the government lies to you about to get you to not pay attention to real problems. Like, for instance, fucking Miller, in one of his amazing monologues, or the same one with the lattice of coincidence, of course, where he's talking about, you see, the way I see it is time machines and UFOs, they're the same thing. Because you see, there's all these people are disappearing every year from South America. And where do they go? Just vanish like nowhere. And by the way, that's a joke about fucking CIA funded death squads.
Yeah,
yeah.
dude. Yeah. And it's on the TV. It's the movie
Oh,
is oh dude, it's wall to wall this
I've got a
movie. It's
Death Squad
amazing.
thing. I'll bring up later. I'm gonna write it down so
Please.
we don't forget it.
So and just and going back to United Fruitcake Company, which is
Outlet.
Outlet.
Outlet, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm crossing
Yeah, it's like
I'm mixing.
United Fruit.
Yeah.
So
United Fruit. Yeah.
which exactly, yes. So that's my point is the fact that the UFO place is, half
Which is
of its name is made up of
a
a
CIA
CIA
backed
front company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just speaks to the fact that the what's her name, Layla, she's none the wiser at, I think at most, really, because she doesn't understand that ultimately, it's probably not aliens in the trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always assumed that it was, well, first of all, it must be said that this was not the original formulation of what the movie was going to be. It was supposed to be a
No.
nuclear bomb that's in the back of the car
Okay,
that blows up LA at the end.
that's what I was gonna say. There was two alternate endings that I never knew about, and one of them is that there's like Sandinista type revolutionaries, and Otto joins them, and that's how the movie ends, or something like that. And at some point, it's still in this film. They kept it in. He's at the Helping Hand repossession
Yeah.
agency or whatever. He's watching TV and reading a porno mag and talking to the black secretary
The black
lady.
chick, yeah.
What's her name? Marlene.
Yep.
Mhm.
And he's watching like some on the news is like some South American
Yeah.
footage or something like that of like some
Bodies being-
contra organization getting
It's
blown
setting
up.
up it's setting up
Yeah.
what was going to happen in
Yeah.
the in the end of the movie. But I don't think it doesn't work in that, because it does sort of just give you this overall flavor / lore of like CIA gay ops regardless, which is what the movie is really at the end of the day. It's all about a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of government bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing that
credit
just is sort
scores.
of left on the floor is all those campaign posters that are everywhere, and the guy looks like Big
Mhm.
Brother, and there's not much about it, but there's always they always utilize it to contrast some scene of like absolute urban devastation.
Yeah.
Like every
So,
time there's that shot where they're playing by the way, the Plug score is
Yeah,
so
so
fucking
Man.
good.
dude, it's
Um,
insane.
Back when you used to be able to pick a ringtone, I had that as the ringtone
Fine
Nice.
ringtone.
on a Nokia
Hell yeah.
flip, dude.
Yeah. You could just right. I used to pick the part 2/3 of the way through of Superheroes by Daft Punk where the
Yeah.
song like picks up. But yeah, you could just pick what part of us. You put the song on your phone, you just pick where the ringtone would start.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
Be good
such a
times.
great, like, spooky surf, like,
Yeah.
just awesome
But oh yeah,
score.
but there's that shot in the scene where after Otto gets into the fight with Bud. It's actually right after the scene where Bud's talking about how all these fucking bums, they if you added up all they owed, like it'd be millions of dollars and shit. It's like, and he goes, Bud, they're bums. They don't have anything, man.
Yeah.
But he gets out of the car and then they have this awesome shot where he's like walking through all the urban decay, and there's like just ominously posted election posters, like campaign posters for this like Big Brother looking guy,
I think
and
his name is Henry Pace. I think.
something like
Is
that.
that
I'm sure
right?
there's more to that
What is
that was
that?
like just left out of the movie or whatever.
Maybe,
That
yeah.
Another thing is the televangelist guy who his
Yeah.
parents so this is the other reason why I thought it was so like the dialectical opposite of Valley
Valley
Girl. Do you
Girl.
remember
Yeah.
Adam,
I mean,
the characters in Adam and Valley Girl, the chick's mom and dad?
Oh yeah, they're like juice hippies.
Yeah,
Like
but
they own a
they're like
juice
the
shop, right?
Yeah, they own a juice shop and they're hippies and they smoke weed behind their kids' back but they're super concerned and like willing to let their kid be, but care about her or whatever. And then you contrast that with Otto, and they do smoke weed in front of him because they don't give a fuck about what he thinks.
Hmm.
And they're literally zooted out of their minds watching this televangelist. And Otto goes like, "Hey, Dad, I was thinking about you a while back. You said you could lend me some money to go travel a little bit, like before I go to school. And yeah, and by the way, I do want to go to school."
I
Which
do
I
want to
love.
finish school. He says you said you'd give me $1,000 if I finish school. And he said, I do want to finish school. I think that's a great idea. But do you think I could have the money first?
Yeah,
his
He
dad
goes,
beat him to the punch by
he
losing
goes,
it all.
we gave it all to Reverend, I forget the Reverend's name,
I can't either. Yeah.
Let me
to buy Bibles for children in El Salvador.
But the interesting thing is, so at the end, in the end of the movie, it's revealed that the Reverend guy is in cahoots with the CIA. And he is even going on TV being like, an old woman has had her 1964 Chevy Malibu stolen. And
Yeah.
if anyone's seen this car, please let us know. And then even they show him at the final scene where he's got this Bible and he's holding up the Bible to try to protect him from the radiation from the car.
But
Um,
yeah,
but the joke there obviously being is fucking stupid Otto's parents funded a fucking CIA death squad in Nicaragua,
yeah,
probably.
yeah.
Well, they sent Bibles to Nicaragua, or what
Yeah,
was it? El Salvador.
but
Yeah.
Otto,
Yeah,
you're in
that's
on that. You're gonna be
that's
able to
when
go on the chariot to heaven someday.
yeah, yeah, you're in the yeah, the chariots of not chariots of the gods, do what's that old song? Um Whatever.
Faith or something.
But
Chariots
yeah,
of Fire.
Chariots of
Chariots
Fire.
of Fire.
Yeah, she said he's
Yeah.
in the but yeah, and yeah, Steve Smith from the Psychopath Machine probably walked right through it.
Yeah, I
Remember
bet.
that?
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Of course. How could I ever forget that guy?
Yeah.
But no. So it's really funny that they probably funded a CIA death squad. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this movie's so fucking dense with jokes like that. It took me years to realize that, because I just thought, oh, look, it's the Reverend guy at the end of the movie. They
Yeah.
brought him back. He was a fun character. For years, I thought that. And then
Yeah.
finally, I'm like, wait a minute. What the?
This-
No, they have
this
him here because
movie-
he's part of the whole government thing. And oh my God, that means the money went. Oh my God.
This movie is built for the noited mind.
Yeah.
Like it's the
Dude,
perfect
it's
movie
really-
for
You have
You have
people
to
like
notice.
us. Yeah. Noticers.
Yeah.
It literally gets better. Will get better with age without ever having to change. It just
Mhm.
all of the magic gets to happen in your head and your imagination, and the fun that comes with watching something as like way too heavy. Literally talking about time machines. I don't understand how I mean, how old was Alex Cox when he did
He was
this?
in his 30s, I think. He was, yeah, he'd already like graduated
84.
college and had a mild career in England before he came to UCA
Hmm.
or UCLA film school.
Yeah, and he had apprenticed under his neighbor who was a repo man, and that's a lot of Bud was based off of, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, some old grizzled boomer, I assume, that like had done it for 20 years, and that's
Nah,
probably where
man,
the
it would
basis
have.
of the taking. You ever take speed? I'm sure
Yeah,
that was
he
said to
probably
Alex
would have
Cox.
been like some greatest generation guy at that point,
It could be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Oh yeah, you're right,
'Cause
huh?
Alex Cox is probably a boomer.
Yeah, some World War II vet. Yeah, you're right. Who's just
Yeah.
like fucked out of his mind on fucking on biker fucking drugs and like and stealing cars all night and just being
You
like, I
wouldn't
got
believe.
spotless credit.
Yeah,
Never missed a
but
payment.
another great thing about this movie is it just shows like the difference in the punk scene from like New York, which was just like not talking about the
The gay
hardcore,
guys. It's gay
not
guys.
yeah, it's like gay art school students,
Yeah.
and LA's punk scene was like an organic version of what happens in a non-homogeneous society that's just influenced by 1,000 different cultures and subgenres to become like an extremely like scary, violent thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Which is why they had to deploy Henry Garfinkel into the heart of the beast
Yeah.
in order to
He's,
keep an
you know,
eye on
he's
them.
I think, I'm not a fan of his. If he was good at, I like Black Flag. If he was good at
Of
singing,
course, yeah.
I'd like Rollins' Black Flag. I think he's the worst lead singer that they had.
Yeah, Des
I
Cadena,
don't,
obviously the best singer
yeah.
of Black Flag.
Ron Reyes, Chavo is also very, very good.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but I'm a Des guy. You know what's great? Do you ever listen to that EP they did with Henry on vocals, but Des on lead guitar, or rhythm guitar rather?
Possibly.
It's fucking very good. It's got all the songs from what do you call it? The one with the smashed glass on it. Um and
Uh,
but it's an EP. It's not recorded as well. Oh, it's also got Chuck Biscuits on drums, who wasn't on drums on the album version. Damn it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Um
He's Chuck Biscuits is the guy that was ended up being in Social Distortion, right?
Yep, he also played for the Misfits briefly too. This is
Yeah.
the thing about the whole
And
punk
like
scene in the 80s. Like,
Robo played in the Misfits and
yep,
Black Flag too, I think.
yep. Yeah, Robo had left Black Flag and he moved to the East Coast, and Henry had said, "Hey, you should go drum for the Misfits when you go to the East Coast."
Yeah. Did you know that there's an episode of Unsolved Mysteries from the late 80s with Henry Rollins in it about when he killed his
You know when he
roommate?
killed his roommate or his boyfriend, I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
did know that.
did you ever listen to him on Joe Rogan when he talks about being the first Ritalin patient ever?
Are you fucking No, I didn't know
yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
one's
yeah,
new.
Yeah.
yeah.
He was like the original like test class for Ritalin.
Yeah, that
So
guy's a fucking spook. Also,
Yeah,
who did you say his
dude.
dad was? He's like
some kind
he owns
of
like some sort of like textile company or like a paper production company for newspapers or something.
Textile would check out with early life.
Yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, another thing is I also brought this to
Deborah's
your
dad owned a garment company.
hell yeah, dude. What I was gonna say though is I told you, I think I DM'd you this, but Henry in the first band he was in, State of Alert, the drummer, I believe, was his father of the drummer's father was high up in the Jimmy Carter administration or something. And they had when they practiced, they had Secret Service guys like standing outside of their place where they were practicing.
Really? Yeah, all those guys, Minor Threat and all them, they all had parents that were like cabinet members or something.
Yep.
I love Minor
Ian
Threat. I
MacKay's
mean,
dad was a journalist who was in the White House press pool, and he was also in the JFK motorcade.
You know, I tried to get into that with JB Beverly when he came on my show, and he was
Uh-huh.
like, he kind of played it down and said that's just how it was growing up in Washington, D.C. if you were a white kid. Like, your parents
I
worked in
think there's some
government, you
truth to
know?
that. He is from there, and I guess he'd
Yeah.
probably be a better litmus of that than me.
And that's just me trying to cope because I love Minor Threat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course, of course. The great songs. I like Fugazi too, for the record. I think the music's fine. Is pretty good in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
It's
guitar is
absolutely.
very good in it.
Oh man. Yeah, no.
Um,
Yeah,
but
let's
yeah, all right, let's get some more stuff about Repo Man. We're getting off topic. I love the topic of CIA punk rock stuff. It's my favorite thing ever, possibly.
Yeah.
But
shit.
yeah,
We
no.
could yeah, we could definitely we'll be revisiting the punk rock topic in episodes to come. There's a
Of
lot of
course, of
juice on that.
course.
You want me to read off the list of the songs on the LP?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that's
Sure.
fun.
Okay.
Let's do that. Yeah.
On the A side, we got the theme song Repo Man by Iggy Pop.
Of course.
Then we get
The
into
riff, by the way, I think is the best part. Like this
yeah.
part in Iggy Pop's career, and I think he would be the first to admit this, is he's kind of hit a rut.
Yeah,
Sure.
he cites this as like what got his this is like his John Travolta Pulp Fiction moment. Like he was
Yeah.
like all strung out and he got asked to do this probably because he was cheap at the time
Yeah.
and he made the song and it kind of got him back on track. Um
Um,
the
but
second
the
song,
riff,
yeah.
The riff. It
Yeah.
sounds so good. It's not just like, it's a good riff. It's like the mixing, everything is like really right up front. It right when it kicks into, it's gonna be a good one. So yeah, let's play it now, Scott.
no,
No, shit. All right.
it's on YouTube. I don't want to lose. Not
Of
that we're
course.
monetized or anything, but I don't want to risk
It'll
the
get
copyright strike.
yeah.
Let's scare the cat.
Second song we got is TV Party by Black Flag. Great,
Yeah.
Classic.
great song. And that's what Otto is
Ooh.
singing when he's drinking on the
Yeah, well,
train
he makes up
tracks.
his own lyrics to it, if you
No,
recall.
that's the real lyrics.
Oh, I know, but he picks different songs that are in this sorry, TV show titles that are in the song.
Oh yeah. Jefferson's
Instead of
Dallas,
I you could hear the ADR in
Flintstones.
yeah, the Flintstones was ADR'd in, and something else. Uh, I imagine he probably said stuff off the cuff, and then Warner
Because
had
I
some other
think
stuff to say.
there was so much different singers in Black Flag at this time that I think all the different versions had different songs as well.
it could be,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
that's true, yeah.
Or different shows.
I
I was in a six pack to
back
my
to my
name.
name. Do.
Let's look at the great White Minority song.
Oh yeah, I can't believe that. I can't believe that's a still. By the way, the original singer was Mexican of that song, though, right?
Yeah, that's Chavo.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I've had it
um,
told to me that he's not saying white pride, that he's saying white blood, but I've listened to that song a
he's
thousand
saying White
times.
Pride. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard it a gazillion times.
yeah, I think that was Cope from punk rockers. They're like, no, like when Ian MacKaye tries to explain away guilty of being
Guilty of
white.
being white. Yeah, I'm
It's like
amazed
it
by
was
this.
he tries to say that it was a satire song.
Okay, man.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, man.
it's a good song.
That's not how we all received it, Ian.
Yeah.
When I was 15 years old and I heard, or maybe 13 years old, I heard that song for the first time. And meanwhile, by the way, this is 2003, 2004, and it was in the heart, the heat of white guilt. And I
Yeah.
heard that song, and I'm like, oh my God, somebody's finally saying it.
Yeah.
Scott, you're 13, and yeah, finally,
I was
you
already into
have
fucking Alex Jones at 13, dude.
man. What was I doing at 13? What were you doing at 13, Adam? If you don't mind drawing a
13, I was
comparison here.
going to
What
Catholic
was I?
school. I was really into
That's
baseball and Metallica, I think, probably. So
right.
I was watching Headbangers Ball.
There you go.
It was 13 was like a year before I made the crossover to being a full-blown punk rocker.
I just discovered AC/DC probably.
Yeah, I was a big AC/DC fan too.
Yeah,
Still
so
am.
I gotta,
hold on.
not to sound like a hipster, I'll soften it by saying I was really into Led Zeppelin when I was that age. But I never liked AC/DC.
No
My
kidding.
sister was a big Led Zeppelin fan. She's 4 years older than me, and we didn't like each other, so I was doing everything that she
I
wasn't.
know that feel, man.
Yeah. For a long
But yeah,
time, I wanted to like listen to and all the stuff that she thought that she liked, I thought was cool until grunge came out. And
mm,
then I was like, man, Pearl Jam, this is not cool.
this is gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
My
is
mom
terrible.
liked Pearl Jam, and my mom cried when Kurt Cobain killed himself.
Yeah, a lot of people did. And to this day, I'll say if it's got to be something in the grunge category, Nirvana is way better than
Pearl
Pearl
Jam.
Jam.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and I don't
they
even
listen to
really.
good bands like the Meat Puppets and stuff.
Yeah, like I wouldn't. I don't see how you can classify Nirvana the same as Soundgarden or Pearl Jam.
Yeah, he doesn't even say yeah.
Yeah.
Totally the
Okay,
yeah.
let's
Yeah.
get back to the record. So the third song, institutionalized suicidal tendencies.
I just wanted a Pepsi, dude.
Yeah, great song, and
Man of Pepsi.
That's what's playing when they're in the pit, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Um,
first scene.
yeah, and then and then it changes when he walks back in on Dick Duke or whatever his name is,
Dick
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 Rude,
Rude.
Rude. Yeah,
aka Duke.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and then it changed to I think TV Party.
Well, no, it was just him singing it.
yeah. He goes to the train tracks and drinks by
A
himself
40.
right before Bud finds him. And then this is where we start getting okay. So we got "Coup d'Etat" by Circle Jerks. It's never a big Circle Jerk song. Oh, whatever, you know.
I like this.
I know that does bring me to though the I never realized it was well for I should say not never for years I didn't realize it was the Circle Jerks singing the Lounge Act in
Yeah,
the bar during the metal hand licking scene.
when
And
the
the
shit
best
hits
part
the
is that
fan.
Otto goes, can't believe I used to like these guys.
Yeah,
Dude, it was honestly pretty good. It was for
Doobie doo wop,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
yes.
It's in some sort of like Holiday Inn setting or something like
Yeah.
that. You know.
And they're
Yeah.
wearing like penguin suits. Yeah.
Yeah, they're wearing like blue leisure suits or something like that. Yeah. Um. Okay, so
Um,
this is where we start getting a little bit weird. We got the next song is by the Plugs, and it's El Clavo y la Cruz, which I believe would translate to the nail and the cross.
Yeah, it would have to be. Yeah.
Um,
I assume this is score, right?
I think at that point it would be. The
um,
Plugs did the
They did the
musical
score, but they
score, I
were a
believe.
band too. They might have had songs in it too.
no, that's the song that's playing when he steals the Cutlass, the first car that he steals when he calls Bud a fag.
Oh yeah, like the
Ooh.
the
It's
Tejano
it's
song.
it's
Yeah.
them
Oh,
doing
nice.
mariachi.
Yeah.
It's a new wave punk, it's a new wave punk band doing a yeah.
It's so
Because
good.
I did that by I think that's what it has to be because that song I used to have this on tape and CD and I'd listen it's like got Tejano like yeah it's got like mariachi songs on it but you can listen to the whole album if you're a fan
Yeah.
of the movie it makes sense and brings you
The
back to it.
Tarantino soundtracks were like that too.
Yeah.
hmm Oh,
Okay,
this is
side
so ahead of its
we get on to the B side. First song is Pablo Picasso by the Burning Sensations.
Yeah.
And that's
Pablo Picasso never got called an asshole.
Jonathan Richman's band. Are you familiar with him?
I'm from Boston, dude. Of course I am. Yeah.
Okay, is he from Boston?
He's from. I'm in love with Massachusetts with the
Okay,
radio
Oh yeah.
on.
because he lived across the street from my friend in San Francisco.
That checks out. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he would be just sitting out on his porch with like his little son playing the guitar, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Um,
He is the most. He is the most repeat guest of all time on David Letterman. Did you know that?
no. If anybody doesn't know who he is, he's the guy that does everything for the Coen brothers movie, or not the Farrelly brothers movies.
I didn't know that.
There's something about Mary, all those movies. He's in them.
Okay.
Interesting.
They
Okay.
actually like show him in There's Something About Mary
I
playing
didn't know
guitar.
that at all. Yeah, he's a he. My parent, or I should say, my dad probably seen him live a dozen times back in the day. But yeah, he's like a very seminal post-punk kind of
Yeah.
post-punk Boston band. You know, it's interesting. Boston is more known for like post-punk than punk. I mean, there's
Hmm.
like a little bit of hard. There was a Boston hard
Mission to
Mission to
Burma and all
Burma.
that.
Oh, I've
Yeah,
seen
and all
Mission
that
to Burma
stuff.
live twice. They're so good. But Bishop of Burma, yeah, but and the Liars, you ever hear the Lyres? They're a great band too.
No.
Check them out. But yeah, they're Boston has a lot of great post-punk, but of course Boston hardcore. I gotta say, I genuinely tried. I hate Boston hardcore. It sucks.
What, like Slapshot and stuff like that?
I don't even consider it that. I meant like Gangrene,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Negative
really like
Approach.
I like Negative Approach, but mostly just because that guy's story is insane. But
Yeah. He was good friends with Seth Putnam actually, and he Negative Approach played Seth Putnam's wedding apparently. And I have like a pretty I'm not going to go into it at all exactly because there's people I don't really talk to anymore that are my conduit to them, but I was like pretty close. I mean, he was dead by the time I got in the scene, but I was pretty in with the whole anal cunt scene, I guess we'll say.
God,
Um,
jeez. Come on.
you never heard of anal cunt before?
It's a family show.
It's
yeah.
All
not.
right.
And also
Family show.
AXCX if you're a pussy.
Scott,
I
again.
know about
He's
I
a
know about
great
that.
musician who's written songs like Hitler was a sensitive man and Ha Ha Holocaust.
If you
There
tickle
is
Hitler,
a
will
lot
you
I
giggle?
was in that late 90s kind of Boston oi stuff is what I was super into. Ducky
Yeah.
Boys
Oh, do you know
and original
the
Dropkick
Blue
Murphys
Bloods?
and possibly
Yeah, the
Tommy
Blue
and the
Bloods. My buddy
Terrors.
Don's brother was the last drummer of the Blue Bloods before they broke up.
Got it. Yeah, there was a ton of that stuff. You know, Ducky Boys. You ever listen
So
to
of
them?
course, yeah.
Charlestown. Yeah, like all that stuff is what, when I first became a skinhead, that was
Darkbuster. That's more pop punk, but I
I
mean, it's
love Darkbuster. Lenny
Darkbuster's
Lashley's
great.
a
Yeah.
terrible shit lib, but he's a great band.
Yep.
First and second album, I love them both.
Yeah.
But
Their first album's really good.
yeah,
Last week at the Randolph KFC, I was with
yeah,
Zippo Raid, Toxin, and the Unseen.
yeah.
Which, by the
Oh
way,
yeah,
The Randolph KFC Knights of Columbus, obviously, is like around the corner from my dad's shop, where my dad at
nice.
the store.
Yeah, he's got that's on his song I Hate the Unseen, right?
Yeah, that's on their first album. Yeah,
Do you ever listen to that band Pinkerton Thugs, who was like the guy from the Unseen side project?
I know I haven't.
Really?
Actually, I gotta say, I hate the Unseen.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
just because of the song either.
yeah. Okay, moving on. Getting off topic here. So we got the Pablo Picasso has never been called an asshole. Then next one, we got Let's Have a War by Fear. Fantastic
Classic.
punk band,
Mhm.
Lee Ving, the lead singer, that guy's story, that is one that we always like. When I was coming up, everybody was always like, "Yeah, Lee Ving was in Viet," because he was like 30 years old in
Yeah.
those in Decline of Western Civilization. Everybody said he was like in Vietnam and all this stuff like that. So, and he was not like a PC dude at all. Still playing
Yeah.
shows. I just was driving through downtown Portland and they're playing down there soon.
No shit. And he's still alive?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's in one of those kind of like Valley Girl type 80s movies called The Wildlife with Eric Stoltz. He's in it.
No shit.
Yeah,
I've heard of it. I've never seen that. I didn't know he was in it either.
worth a watch.
Yeah, they had an interesting career too because they kept popping up in movies as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think
They were in the Night of the Living Dead, I think. The one
I was just gonna say the remake.
in the
you mean.
mall, the one in the mall.
Oh, the
maybe?
Dawn of the Dead. Yeah.
Or no, the one with the punk rockers. One of them might be Lee Ving. Is that
That's Return of the Living Dead. But
Okay,
yes,
got it.
you're right. It's coming back to me now. But yeah, it's a good movie actually.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say they had a lot of interesting movie things because their song one of their I Love Living in the Cities is in the fucking Warriors.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have
Yeah,
not
I like
seen
it
Warriors
in
in a
that
long
song
time.
New York's All Right if you like homosexuals. It's
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get through this so we can get back on track and talk about the
Sure.
movie more. Then we got Hombre Secreto, which is just Secret Agent Man in Spanish, also by the
Yep.
Plugs.
Sick.
Bad Man by Juicy
That's
Bananas.
during the scene, by the way, where where they're
That's
riding in the
the
car. Layla's gets in the car and she has to hide to duck to see get away from the CIA guys.
Yeah.
or is that what's playing when he's with Light? Because it's like the Shaft type music.
Oh, I was talking about the
Oh
El
yeah,
Hombre
Hombre
Secreto.
Secreto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then um Bad Man by the Juicy Bananas. That's when Light's telling him how badass he is.
Yeah.
And
The
then
scene where he goes, I used to be tight with these guys, man. The
yeah, I
best
knew
part of that
about
scene, by the way, is when he breaks into the car and they're like, oh, what's this? And they like pick up a present and Light
yeah,
takes the box out of his hand, chucks it out the window, and then they do an insert, the only insert in the movie, if I'm not mistaken, an insert of a car rolling
Present.
over the
Yeah.
present, and it's just a big pile of cash.
just a big
Yeah.
wad of cash, yeah. And then to round everything out, last song on the B side is Real 10, which is the score of the movie, the
Best,
fantastic
yeah, that
by the
song's fucking
Plugs.
amazing.
It's really great. Look that up on YouTube, you guys, if you haven't heard it.
Actually, the first I want to say I used that as an outro for History Homos like 6 times in the very beginning of the beginning of the show when we weren't sure if we are gonna have if I was gonna pick different songs every time. And yeah, so I just continually put Real 10 in.
Yeah.
On the topic, who's got the rights to David Koresh's sweet
Nobody.
voice? Nice.
Yep, we
All
can use
right.
that forever.
Righteous. All right, back on the repo.
Yeah.
Tip.
There's so many little
Dude,
details I want to talk about this movie. Well, yeah, the part where he just randomly throws up. I don't even know what the purpose of that was. Where he's running
Well,
after the Malibu and he just randomly throws up over the
I always
bridge.
thought it was because of the radiation.
I guess it could be that. Yeah, sure. Fair enough. I just thought it was like I thought it was they were trying to this is the filmmaker in me. But the reason was is it would have to so they would have a reason to have to show the angle over the bridge to show that the car was going under.
perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's a really great way. Give me any reason why we have can show this angle over the bridge. To show that
Uh,
the car he catches glimpse of the car underneath.
he's yeah, and it gets across that he's running like hell. He throws up. Yeah,
I get yeah, it could be
possible.
just that he was exerted himself a lot. Yeah.
And yeah, if
He's
you
been
got to
driving
run.
around with Bud all day, drinking drink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least with beer, you know what you're getting. Who knows what drink it is? God
Great
Yeah.
knows.
drink, dude. Drink.
Oh, one of
Great
the
drink.
things I
Great
really like.
flavored.
Yeah, it's true. One of the things I
Purple
loved about this is at the end
sugar.
where Duke ends up dead, of course. And it's right after it's right after he goes, "Hey, now that Archie's gone, what do you say we get together and we like have a kid? You know, it's just a thing that everybody does." So even he's having like second thoughts. He's been scared straight by seeing his friend turn into a skeleton cartoon briefly.
As
Yeah,
one
and
should be.
what's the punk rocker girl's name? Debbie?
Something like that. Or
Yeah,
Denise, maybe?
she's the realest one in the whole movie. She
Oh,
doesn't
she's
want any of
scary.
that. She wants to
Yeah,
go
she's like,
do
fuck
she
you.
wants to do crimes.
She
Yeah,
wants to
let's
do
go get sushi
poppers.
and not pay.
Yeah.
She wants
Yeah,
she and
oh, you know that's what they're doing in the when the circle jerks are playing in that Holiday Inn when during the silver hand scene, they're snorting amyl nitrate
Yeah,
poppers.
yeah,
yeah.
checks out.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so it
they do a
speaks
close up
to
shot on the bottle, and it's like really clearly some kind of fucking party drug.
and,
Yeah,
and it makes
dilates your
sense that
butthole.
and it makes sense that it's the what she gives to him to what do you call it? Get his mind off of having a family and yeah,
I
fulfilling
guess it could
his
be, yeah.
yeah.
That's how you
Oh,
get.
but
That's how you get AIDS. Doing too much
yeah,
of that stuff
true.
and
Yeah,
letting 20 guys run through you.
yeah, that's after all. Yeah, in the RFK book, they did
Yeah.
mention that the what is that shit called? Kaposi sarcoma. Like
Hmm.
it's actually a symptom of taking too many poppers.
Yeah. That's like the blotchy skin, right?
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, I believe it,
I
honestly.
totally buy it.
Yeah. But I was gonna say,
Getting
so, but my favorite part about the Duke character is that he also has an arc, and it ends up with him doing the very stereotypical um what's it called? It was society's fault, man.
Yeah.
That's why I turned to crime. And now,
What
by the
did he
way,
say?
now that Otto has become an authoritarian, mercenary for the corporations, he goes, "Shut the fuck up." Basically, he says, "Well,
Yes.
you're just a suburban white
You're a
punk,
white
just like
suburban
me."
punk just like me.
Yeah.
Great line, man.
Dude, it was literally the line he said, I think it was like that's a bunch of shit or whatever. Like just it was perfect.
Totally dismissive.
yeah. What who got everybody gets shot in that scene in
Yeah, well,
some
it's another.
one
By the
manner or
way,
another.
you mentioned earlier, Adam, the fact that did Tarantino see this movie? There's a fucking Mexican show, a Mexican standoff in it.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody's pointing guns and everybody
yeah,
like moving back and forth. Dude, it's great.
yeah. Yeah, that's really it's shot really good and lit
Oh,
really good. It's like just like there's no better. It's like the setting for it is just so perfect. It's like this gritty looking liquor store. And by the way, also is throughout there's like three liquor store scenes in the movie, and each one successively has more Ralph's like generic items in it as the
Yeah.
movie goes on, sort of like almost like the movie's sort of separating into like it's leaving reality near the movie, and it's sort of like getting sucked into this like corporate
And
dystopia essentially.
every time they go to a liquor store, it's getting robbed by the punk rock gang.
Yeah.
yeah.
But when the big fat guy gets shot in the last liquor store scene, that it's like almost like a weird like stop animation thing where it
Yeah.
shows his
Mhm.
arms smashing the all the liquor bottles behind the counter. And it's really good
Yeah.
stuff.
And it's
It's
also it says London Dry Gin, and it has the same
Yeah,
Ralph's packaging.
yeah,
um
yeah,
uh
man. I remember like they had stuff like that when I was little, like in the 80s. I remember seeing stuff like that.
like just
Just
plain generic
just
nothing
beer, like before even like we had
amazing.
like Safeway Select, when I was growing up, but like
Yeah.
Oh, oh God, help
I was under
us.
the impression that
Who
that's
knows
like
what that
it's
was?
it's based on, and now it isn't exactly because they couldn't get Ralph's to agree to be sponsored for the movie. But if I'm not mistaken, that it's based aesthetically on the Ralph's generic packaging, correct?
okay, maybe. Yeah, I didn't grow up with Ralph's, so
Yeah, it's
could
an
be.
LA thing, but I've seen
Yeah.
pictures of it. I saw a picture of it absent like the Repo Man connection of like a Ralph's generic item, and I'm like, what the fuck? I like did a double take because I'm like, is this a Repo Man reality like or something? And
Yeah,
it's
I
got
mean
that white label with a blue band on it and in blue writing.
it's a great way to get around that having to pay for stuff, I guess, but it also just, you know, everybody's just on the goy slop.
Yeah. But also, of course, the only actual product placement in the movie is that those little hanging trees in the rearview mirrors. And Miller says it says every car's got them,
One
and
in every
indeed,
car.
literal is one in every car. That's right. And it literally is, I think, in nearly every car in the entire movie. I noticed a couple. Because I'm acutely in tune with it. The only ones I noticed that didn't have it were in a couple highway shots where they clearly had like people actually driving in the
Yeah,
background of it, and it wasn't like it wasn't they didn't block off the highway, they just let real people drive through as they shot it. So
yeah,
obviously those people didn't necessarily have the fucking hanging trees, but other than that, I think every car in the entire movie is features one. Yeah, even the motorcycle, the police motorcycle had one.
yeah.
When you mention that they're just driving on the highway, I think like early on when like the first act is crescendoing and he's just stolen the repo the first car with Bud. Uh, I'm looking for each car. I know there are one's in one, one's in the other, but there's a car that's like veering between lanes and like pissed off, it looked like. And I thought, oh, that's funny. They kind of subverted my expectations of getting to see both the cars head on, riding on the highway in this, triumphant moment. But there's a guy, cutting them off and, driving shitty.
That's the Malibu.
Is that the Malibu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, listen, I
They
just
didn't
got
know about the
one.
Malibu yet at the time, though.
Okay, so that's even, yeah, okay, perfect. Listen, I
So
it was
No
literally,
worries, man. You're on
it's
your
the
first time seeing
I
it.
think
Yeah,
it's the
don't worry.
first
Like,
3
if you
minutes of the
didn't
movie.
notice that 4 times in, we'd have a problem. But
Yeah.
I just yeah, I was gonna say that checks out with them just hitting the highway and going, we'll see what happens.
I think it's actually making like the bubble noises that it makes when it drives too.
yeah, it
That's
is.
how you know.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
Okay, yeah.
What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but so Bud becomes like obsessed with this idea of, which is really funny that $20,000 is enough to change his life. It's like,
Yeah.
I think it's almost a comment on like it's like a comment on like the bootstrap mentality that was really sort of taking stride at this time in American history. It was like the Reagan era, was like, this is really the birth of that rhetoric. Essentially, the boomers were like, yeah,
Yeah.
all you gotta do is just, I need to get a quick thing and fuck you, I got mine. And yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
all I need is $20,000. I got perfect credit. I could start my own lot. And it's
Oh,
like,
dude.
I was thinking about it though. I think if you had $20 liquid, you could probably get a horrible loan and start a repo lot
Now, that's what I think
today. I
happens
mean,
at the
so
end.
yeah,
I think he just goes up to the big what do you call it? Tow yard in the sky.
he gets
Um
shot if you recall.
oh I meant what's his
Miller,
fuck? No, Miller and yeah. Miller
Miller and
and
Otto. Yeah.
Otto. Yeah.
Well, we
I
know
think
what happens
they
to
got the
him because of
20K
the. We know what happens to him because of the graphic novel
sequel.
sequel. He goes to
Yeah.
Mars.
Yeah, that's right. I would love to
Before
check that
Elon
out.
Musk.
I loathe the fact that I wasn't able to source that in time.
Yeah, I looked it up as soon as I couldn't. I woke up super early yesterday morning at like 4 and was like looking at stuff on my phone. I always make terrible impulse buys when I'm like half asleep. I
Sure.
almost pulled the trigger on the what's it called? Waldo's.
Weird,
Um,
wonderful
What's
time.
what's the name of
and
this? I got
Waldo
it.
something. Yeah, I can just pull it up real quick.
Waldo's Hawaiian Holiday.
Yeah, Waldo's Hawaiian Holiday is the sequel that never got funded. And Emilio Estevez took a look at the script and was like, I can't do this. This is too weird.
This is stupid.
Yeah. It's probably good. He was just, coming off that amazing performance at Young Guns and wanted to do more serious stuff. So he got into Men at Work, his garbage man comedy. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's cost $67 for this graphic novel. It came out in what, 2008 or something like that.
I bet there's got to be an archive.org of it somewhere. I didn't look that hard, but
I'm a
we'll have to check
tactile
into that.
guy.
True, that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um, but yeah, there's a couple of things I want to get to. But yeah, so Bud
So
sort of gets consumed by like the avarice of this car or whatever. And I think like the car is supposed to like symbolize like everybody sort of projects what they want to onto it, sort of thing. You know
yes,
what I
yeah.
mean? And I don't know exactly what that's trying to say, but it's definitely saying something. And the fact that it's like a Fugazi fucking alien like government thing is all the better, really. If
Yeah.
with that in mind. Um and
It's it's probably I mean one time I seen it, but it's got to be something to the idea that these huge, international, uh, you know, uh,
entities.
more so just like waves of impact, the things that are happening in El Salvador will impact what happens here
Okay,
for
yeah.
no other reason other than that we're not connected to the people of El Salvador, us here on this, on this show, other than the fact that there's huge multinational, companies and that insist on keeping people's, totally disparate people's, how do you say, futures intertwined. And
Sure.
so, it comes down, it's this alien MacGuffin, who even knows neutron bomb schizo thing at the highest level of, at the original level of its inception, but it comes down to just being a $20,000 payday for the guy who, uh, you know, I don't know,
The guy
someone,
whose life it can actually affect.
yeah. So whether, what do you call it? I don't know. I don't have I don't have a good enough analogy at hand to place it, but I think you catch my drift.
I do.
It's in the same way that they'll drop the aliens cover story and that. Okay, yeah, they'll make up the alien shit however many years ago, 80 years ago now, and now there's billion-dollar media and entertainment industry, economies built around it. And people, base their entire lives off of, and they'll spend 40% of their yearly salary on
Tchotchkes.
tchotchkes, yeah, whatever the hell, pop-ups, Funko
Funko
Pops.
Pops.
Yeah,
Funko
there you
Pops.
go.
Yeah.
It shows how
But
tuned
tchotchkes
in I
would have
am.
worked for the record.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, though? So it's like this stupid just thing that happened at the deepest, ugliest, levels of government slash uh
Boeing
dark
Corporation,
yeah.
yeah, intrigue, yeah, sure. And it's
Yeah,
also fueled by like an ideological fake conflict between two powers that are paying interest to the same banks.
perfect. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
and
very funny. I mean, it really is a microcosm of all of the fakeness of like, and again, just the fact that the alien looks so fake. And in the end, oh, we haven't even talked about the glow in the dark car, which the way they were
so
able to
great.
do this was they painted it in reflective like paint essentially, and then
Some
shot
like
green
reflective like traffic paint or something like
something
that.
like that, yeah. And then they shot just green spotlights at it and then didn't move and like overexposed it maybe.
Yeah,
It's
Um,
because
amazing.
it does look, it looks terrible, but it looks computer generated, you know?
yeah, well, I always thought that they painted it in like glow in the dark like
Hmm.
paint and then just like shot lights at it for like 3 weeks. And then they were
Yeah.
like, all right, go, 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 go,
Yeah,
just so we
yeah.
glow as much as possible.
And then when he gets to the
It's
car
literally
lot,
glow in the dark, dude. It's a glow in the dark car. It glow in the dark.
when he gets to
CIA.
the back to the car lot and it's raining ice cubes, it was just two dudes standing up on the roof dumping buckets of ice down.
Yep.
And it
Yeah.
looks great. It looks perfect, you know?
It doesn't look,
It's
yeah, it
like,
doesn't look bad at all. I don't know what.
I mean, it looks bad enough that it looks great, you know? It's
Yeah,
Yeah,
Very Roger
that's
perfect for the
Corman.
movie.
I'll co-sign that.
I mean, it's
I
crazy. Like you could drive through LA sometimes, like in the middle of the night, and it's like, 90 degrees out, and the road will be wet because they just filmed like some rain scene
Yeah,
that
sure.
probably cost $1 million to do, you know?
yeah, and they give you shit for keeping your water running.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
when
they're
it's during a
like just
drought.
two guys, two of the probably like volunteered grips on the movie, like standing up on the billboard
Of
above the
ladders.
shop, yeah, like jumping
Yeah,
buckets of ice.
But yeah, so the car is all green and Mill we didn't even talk about plate of shrimp. This is the best line in the entire movie. You ever like sitting you thinking about a plate,
Plate
a plate of
or
shrimp,
plate or a shrimp or a plate of shrimp.
and then someone says plate or shrimp or plate of shrimp, and I just think it's all part of the cosmic unconsciousness, man. A lattice of
perfect.
coincidences.
Amazing. Um, uh,
Um, And
Miller,
but the best line in that too, right? Otto doesn't miss a beat. He goes, "You take a lot of acid in the '60s, Miller."
In the hippie days. But then a great thing that I noticed that I didn't notice again, I read it in that article, but I've never noticed it, is when the Rodriguez brothers are they stop at that gas station and Kevin's working at the car wash and Napoleon's on the phone.
Oh, plate of shrimp, yeah.
Right next to it, they're at like some shitty diner, and there's a thing on the window that says Play-Doh shrimp.
Yeah, 250 plate of shrimp. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
notice that back in the day. Yeah.
it's a good deal. I take that
But
deal.
my favorite part of that scene is he goes, the car is just stolen, and then Napoleon walks out and he's holding 2 sodas, and he looks at him like all defeated or whatever, and he just hands him the soda, and they
Yeah.
linger on it for just the perfect amount of time where they both
Yeah.
take a sip of the soda. And it's just such an amazingly humorous detail. It's like, what are they gonna not drink the soda because they lost the car?
Yeah.
And it's
That's
so
great.
real. They were real for that one.
Yeah.
Um, I love the uh um, Otto when he really throws himself into it. He's the scene where he's getting shot at, he's trying to repossess the Porsche, I think it was. Um, uh, he's just like grabbing the door, pulling on it, and screaming, "Open the door!" And Lights screaming, "Get in the car!" And it's just funny
Yeah.
to see one guy screaming, "Open the door!" and one guy yelling, "Get in the car!" while he's shooting a gun that has no real bullets in it. Um, uh, and that like moments like
The
that are
disconnect.
just
Yeah.
it's just very. I'm sure they knew what they were doing there. It was but it was very funny. That's one thing.
It's like that scene is when he's like, oh, this isn't just like recess fun time. It's like that scene where he kind of turns into Bud almost like that. Like
Yeah.
Bud is his fate if he keeps going, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's when he realizes this is like the real deal. Like repoing cars in East LA is like a
Sure.
gnarly
You know what's an
thing.
interesting thing about it is I believe, if I'm not mistaken, like Adam, you mentioned that the character Bud was based off of like this real Repo Man that Alex Cox had known. And but apparently there was like a friction between Harry Dean Stanton and the direct and the not just the director but like all of the crew, because he wanted to like go off and do his own thing too much. And because of that, Alex Cox was like, fuck this. I'm gonna give some of those scenes that were supposed to be for Bud to Light. So that
Okay.
scene specifically, that gun scene, because as you recall before, Bud says, I don't really have a gun, but it's revealed that Light's gun is a blank, has blanks in it.
Hmm.
But I believe that scene was written for Bud's character to show his descent from being I don't carry a gun to I carry blanks to the final scene where he's actually in the shootout. He actually pulls a gun. If you're not mistaken, so you literally watch the dude go off the fucking rails, driven by the avarice of this $20,000 car.
Yeah.
I really watching it thought I haven't seen Bud in a while. I mean, yeah, I haven't seen Bud in a while. And then he shows up and he's like, "Yo, talk to me. What are you doing? You know what? You like me anymore?"
Dildos.
Well, he had gotten shot in like the ear or whatever in that last liquor store scene.
Yeah.
Which is why he
Yeah,
was in the
right.
hospital. So and then when he gets out of it, he ends up taking the fucking Malibu and driving it away with that awful effect where they're literally just laid a
Amazing.
green light, like they colored green over the cell, like the over the actual the film, in order to make that effect awful looking. Um, but yeah,
I
that's that.
it
So
it It
go
was
ahead.
it looked Tronish. I mean, I do not know enough about how, the manipulation of film to, have a clue as to what they were doing in 84 to get that done. But it looked, 84, I figured they might have had it's so rudimentary, outline of a car. That could easily,
Well, it
I
wasn't
think
CG. I'll tell you that much. It was. I
that's
believe they
amazing.
literally just Well, they didn't have CG really. I mean, they did but it would be only the highest budget movies that had that kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
this certainly wasn't it. But I believe the way they did that was they ran. I assume what they did was they did reel to reel and they played the reel on one side and then they maybe captured it with a green light that was following where the car was. And then they taped that or they like filmed that exposure. And then they put
nice.
that onto the final cut.
Okay.
It's not unheard of.
Yeah,
I mean, they've done this many times,
I
and
mean,
or maybe it was some kind of colorization, sort of like the Wizard of Oz, maybe.
um, what were they doing with that? The
Well, it was black and white, and they made it all color by literally coloring on the film.
oh, okay. Okay. Have you guys done a Wizard of Oz episode in the back
No, we
catalog?
should though. We should do a Wizard of Oz
That
episode.
had, yeah, Elf Frank Baum.
Theosophy and shit. Yeah,
Oh boy.
Link that shit up with some Pink Floyd, man.
yeah.
Oh
I have done
no.
that before, and I gotta be honest. I feel like they didn't really make it to do that.
No. It's the equivalent of smoking weed and watching a televangelist as you rummage for your checkbook. Don't
Yeah.
yeah. There's cooler things to synchronize like hip hop
You
music
guys
and
ever get
Jackie Chan.
high? You ever listen to Quadrophenia or no, not Quadrophenia?
Ugh,
Zyarica by the Flaming Lips on
no.
weed.
No, dude. No.
No, but you know what that is though? Zyarica was this pretty cool album. Cool is not the right word, but it's an album where
The
it's
word.
on 4 different discs and you have to play them simultaneously in
Oh,
order to
bite
get
me.
full surround sound stereo.
Dude,
Kiss my ass.
yeah.
Who has
It's pretty
time,
cool when you
dude?
pull it off though. I'll say that.
Yeah. I'm being I've not listened to the Flaming Lips, so I have no yeah, no
That was
Yeah, I
when
bias
they
see
were
what
either.
you're
good.
doing.
That was the era in which they were good. Now they suck, and they were bad before, and then they got good in the late '90s, early 2000s, and then they started sucking.
Mm, okay. Um, yeah, no, this movie is folks, if you can't get around to watching it yet, just listen to the soundtrack. I think that's actually a fun way. Do you think that might spoil? Nah, it didn't spoil nothing.
Not
Spoil,
not
yeah.
at all.
No, no, I just
But
mean
I
like, for the experience, if you're really that intent on getting the full thing first time, but the
yeah,
music
it
in
does
itself is a joy.
the music really complements the movie in every way, like gets you there. It's like really captures 1984 LA, I think, really well.
Yeah.
It hit everything. I love the mariachi stuff, and I love
Yeah,
the surf music. That I'm very partial to surf punk. That
yeah,
scratches an itch for me.
nice.
So the whole thing, yeah, back to front.
So
Yeah.
what do you guys think? Do you think so everybody's trying to get into the car at the end. It's,
I
people
was
getting lit
waiting.
on
This was gonna be the
fire,
last thing we
blown
talked
up.
about. Yeah.
Is Miller, the old burnout. They call him like in all these articles, they call Miller a repo man. Miller's not the repo man. Miller's
Oh,
like the
works in the
yard, he's
fucking
like the
yard.
yard janitor, pretty much. He just burns stuff in a burn barrel. He can't
What a
drive. He
life.
sits on the bus because that's where he gets his best thinking done.
The
Is on the
more
bus.
driving you
Amazing.
The
do, the
more,
less intelligent you are. And I
yeah,
was like,
That's
real. I was like,
damn,
yeah.
real.
brother.
But
I don't think it.
so
That's so
he's the
true.
only one at this point, at the culmination of the Malibu scene of all these different entities coming together and converging on the Malibu. He's the only one that can enter it. Is
Yeah.
he an alien from the future?
That's the question. I don't know, but I would suspect not. I always took it as because that's obviously an interpretation because everyone, including the well, that's the other no, because Bud sits in the car too. Remember?
Yeah,
Bud,
Bud sits in the
Otto.
car and then he gets shot, and then everybody else comes and can't get in. And the Miller gets in. They just flash to him. Miller's sitting in it. He gives
Yeah.
Bud or
The
Otto
come
one of
hither look.
these. Yeah, tells them to come in. They get in. They ascend, fly around the skyline of LA, and then it ends. But Yeah, I don't know.
There's
I don't
multiple
know.
interpretations. Obviously, the interpretation that you could take is that he was an alien all along. Um, but by yeah, I'll say that
Yeah,
after.
you guys
But I
ever
was
hear that book? It's not Aliens Worse, It's Us by Jared Murphy, and that like the whole like aliens are us from the future
yeah,
thing. Yeah,
I
I had
have
that.
heard that.
I
Yeah,
had that guy on my podcast a whole bunch of times. Nice
you
dude.
brought it up. That's right. I was gonna say you're the one who told me about this guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, but
But yeah, he's
did
pretty
you bring? I
much.
assume you brought up Repo Man to him, right?
I did not bring up Repo Man to him.
Why? Why?
He's a nice guy, but he
That
then
doesn't mean you can't bring up one of the greatest movies of all time to
it
him.
didn't pop into my head. We did though a couple different weird episodes. He thinks that there's a place where you can go to see dinosaur footprints in Arizona. So I don't really take anything he says seriously anymore. But good guy.
Well, I forgot to. We didn't even talk about diuretics.
Oh,
Oh,
I've got it
man.
written. Look, I got it written on the notes right there. Forgot.
Diuretics, obviously an early lampoon of fucking of Scientology, and not that it was
Dianetics.
new. It wasn't new, but it was nobody was talking shit on them at the time.
Very, 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 like, always ahead of the curve. Just before, the Contra thing, just before Scientology, well, took a while for Scientology to, be as prominently weird as, say, Mormonism or, whatever. But the
I don't know. It's pretty
the
weird.
oh no, I just mean like people offhand, everybody knows that it's weird
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think
rather than
you
like,
know what?
yeah.
I'll say this. I think it took a long time for people to realize that Mormonism, the theology was weird. Because I know that in the oldie times, people were like, "Oh yeah, Mormons, criminals." They assumed they were just criminals. I mean, they were, but I think like it took a long time. I actually want to say I think it was like the South Park episode before people realized what Mormons believed.
So people weren't really dogging on them for their funny underwear until after South Park. Did
I don't know.
what
Maybe maybe if we have a couple ex-Mormon listeners, so maybe if you could fill me in on this.
folks, please, yes.
Um,
Because I mean, at what point there's a huge gap there between Mormons, those sneaky sons of guns, and
horse thieves.
yeah, and up to, yeah, they were, they shake hands through a curtain. If you ever seen that video.
Yeah, it's a great
I
video, by
mean,
the way. Yeah.
the Mormon liturgy or ceremony is just a Masonic
It's
ritual.
literally the Masonic ritual. It's like
Yeah.
the main thing that the Masons do. Yeah.
And then the Masons are just wannabe Jews. So
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Well, it's not for nothing. The fucking Mormons call themselves, they call non-Mormons Gentiles.
really,
Yeah. And
Hey,
and they also take the sort of Talmudic view that when you're stealing, it's okay to steal from Gentiles because we're the chosen people. Genuinely,
yeah,
this is like part of their like cosmology, if you will.
yeah, yeah. A bunch of
um,
those old John Birch Society dudes were all Mormons, and then a bunch of the old like 1980s libertarian like tax protest dudes were all heroes. Were
yeah,
all
that
Mormons.
makes sense. Yeah, they have a proclivity for being weird. They're not allowed to drink, so I feel like you got to funnel your like energy into conspiracy theories if you're a Mormon, you know.
Yeah, yeah. They don't drink, but they can have like 20 Dr. Peppers a day.
And they do, by the way. I just found this out today. Apparently, they drink soda and put sugar in it.
Yeah.
oh man, no,
Yeah,
that ain't the
they can't
way.
have coffee, but they can have 20 Cokes.
Yeah, because the restriction is on hot beverages. And by the way, it's also worth mentioning that it's a matter of severe debate within the Mormon community as to whether hot chocolate is allowed or not.
Damn.
Is that
Anyway,
their
is there anything else
uh,
we want to talk about with the diuretics? Obviously, is worth a mention. Yeah, I just love this fucking
it's-
movie. We gotta give
Yeah, it's just another one of the something that was going on in LA at the time in Hollywood,
yeah,
Scientology's
mm.
big and it's just something that would cross paths. It just got thrown in there. It's a cheap, fun way to do it.
absolutely. Okay, so Adam, do you know the Cinema Apocalypse Now scoring system?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are tough scorers. So, does the
The-
guess? I mean, you guys asked me what I gave Strange Brew, and I think I gave it a 9. So maybe I should redact that and give Strange Brew a 6. The last time we did something. Do I go first? Do you guys give me the
Well, I'll go first
give me the
because
scoring system again?
yeah. So the scoring system is thus. Basically, it's a 1 to 10 system. A 1 is the worst movie ever made, and a 10 is the best movie ever made. So very few films should be considered a 10. And a 5 is the litmus for whether you would recommend it to the listeners. So that being said, I would give, and I make no bones about this. This is genuinely in my top 10 favorite films of all time. I would give Repo Man a 9.25. And it's very hard to get me to give good
Is that
scores.
your highest score ever on the show?
No, I believe I gave Doctor Strangelove a 10.
Okay.
Patrick, comment?
It's funny you say that, Scott, because at several points watching this movie for the first time, thought this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. I didn't think it. I said it many times. I kept looking over to my wonderful woman saying, "This is the best. This is amazing. Isn't this so good? This is amazing."
Had
This
she
is
seen it, by the way?
no.
What did she think?
She gave it a 7,
Okay.
which she's a tough cookie. Uh, but this is a
I don't think my wife could have done it.
really.
Could you
think
sat
so.
through it even?
Yeah, probably not.
90 minutes. Sit through. Yeah.
You're gonna have
There's
to fucking
there's too much
waterboard her with
like
it.
nuance and reference that she wouldn't have gotten in it.
I don't. I think on a bet. Well, let me comment on that for a moment. Yes, that's what makes the movie for me a 9 is all those second layers or whatever. But if I were a complete know nothing about any of this stuff, I would still give this movie a 7
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
because
I
it's just
think
a
it.
fucking solid comedy with like hilarious like the one-liners we said it a million times, but like if nothing else but the dialogue, this movie is a fucking it's good.
Yeah. Dude,
It's
when he asks Layla out for the first time and she kind of turns him down and he
Mhm.
grabs her bag and just goes, "Here's your shit." That's
Yeah.
the best ever, man. All right then. Here's your
Yeah, well,
shit.
I love when he goes to visit her at her job and he just tries to get her to suck his dick.
Yeah, and her coworker walks in and just like rolls her eyes because she's totally done it before.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
um
but yeah, Patrick, what would your score be?
oh brother, this is a 9 at first glance.
Okay, so just
Without
give a definitive answer. I said
yeah,
9.25 myself.
eh, I'll give it a 9.
Okay.
Just straight 9 because I'm only gonna enjoy this the 100 more times I watch this over the
There you
years.
go.
This is a great hangout movie. You can just put this on and start at any
It
point.
is a hangout movie, I think, because
Uh,
you can pop in and out of it, and it's sort of each scene is on equal footing to the last.
mhm. Yeah, no, there's no lulls. It's tight,
There was plenty of
packed.
lulls, friends.
Oh yeah, there you go. Depends on uh where you're at. But so if yeah, I 9 all day. This is one of the best things I've ever seen. And I hope to watch it many more times and see many more other things like it. I'm glad you gave me a lot of guff about it, Scott. Fair enough that I hadn't seen this yet because
You've
I
never seen anything. I gotta stop giving you guff because I just should assume that you've
listen.
not seen it.
I
You're
live
still in
in
your 20s, right?
yeah.
I'm
I'm
45,
29.
so you know.
I mean, it's the thing. It's like depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to boomers, it's over. I'm like Anthony Scalia. I know that like they don't. There's nothing they can get past me. But like with newer stuff, that was a big gap, and stuff that was contemporary with what I was growing up with. I have huge gaps in my knowledge on that, but. Uh, I live in Edge City when it comes to movies and music. You know, I will, if I know I'm gonna like something, I have a feeling, a funny feeling, I will wait for a while to watch it for some stupid ass reason. So, but I kick myself that I waited this long. This is fantastic.
There you go. Adam, your score?
Yeah, I mean, the whole package is pretty perfect in the fact that it only gets better every time you watch it, and you're just gonna like settle in, figure out the plot, and then you're just gonna find something new for the first 30 times you watch it. And yeah, so it's a 9.5 for me.
Good
Amen.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most unanimous and highest scoring we've seen on History Homos so far, that I'm aware of for movie review. I don't know.
Yeah, well, William would just troll me with what he was score would be. Like every time, it would be like, "Oh, what will I say that just infuriates Scott?" That would be what the point of whatever. Even if he loved the movie, he'd be like, "Well, I can't give it a 5, even though he likes it." But just like, um, but
Um,
yeah. So I
I
think we
think a
did a
lot of
pretty good
this
summation.
would it be lost on the non-American.
No, he loves this
no.
movie. Actually, it's a shame we didn't
Yeah.
get to have him for this because, for his birthday in 2020, which is I believe prior to History Homos existing, if I'm not mistaken. No, yeah, it might have been. I for his birthday, I provided him the very same MP4 file that I sent you, Patrick, of
Oh
this
shit.
film, and he said it was a great birthday gift. So
Golly.
he loves this movie. Yeah.
Hell
So
yeah.
if you guys
Happy birthday, William.
go to Amazon Prime, if Scott's not going to send you the MP4, it's $3.79 to rent, I think. But if you go, you know, they have like if you like this, you'll like this. They have the whole list of Alex Cox movies,
Mm-hmm.
and it is some weird stuff, and a
Yeah,
bunch of
I've
it's
seen Sid
a
and
bunch.
Nancy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the only other one that people know. There's a 2008 release called Repo Chick
Oh
that was
yeah, I've heard
filmed
about that.
that's filmed completely in front of a green screen.
Oh, no.
Is it
Um,
watchable?
I don't know. I'm gonna look into some of this stuff. And then there was like
On the
some sort
next
of like
episode.
supernatural erotic thriller with
Oh
With
no.
Rosie
Sick.
Perez.
Oh
So
Nice.
no.
I'm gonna check that.
No.
I'm gonna check that one out too.
And another called Walker, some kind of anachronistic weird Western. Was reading
Oh
about
yeah, that
that.
one actually looks
Shit,
pretty
man.
cool.
Dude, I
It
was reading it and I was like, no, this is good. This has to be
Yeah,
good in
it
some way.
reminded me of that one weird like kind of punk rock western like cyberpunk western thing. I can't remember who's in it, but that there's like a famous one from the early 90s. It reminded me of something like that.
Dead Man?
Not
Are
the
you
one with
talking
Johnny
Johnny Depp?
Depp.
No,
There's one that's
I'm
around
thinking
that same
The
time that was
Postman?
like
Postman?
no, I'll figure it out and let you guys know, but
yeah.
it's like got like it's got a weird soundtrack and like I think it might have like Tom Waits in it or something like that. One of those films.
Tom Waits much better actor than he is a musician.
Yeah,
Damn.
great fry cook and Rumblefish.
Yeah. He was good in
Great
that
movie. Great
Coen
movie.
Brothers movie too, by the way.
Yeah.
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs,
Yeah.
right? That's not the Western that we're talking about with
No.
Tom Waits in it. I'm trying to figure this out.
It's all
Type
Uh,
in
good.
like cyberpunk western.
Interesting. Okay. I love
Anyway,
Westerns, so
but anything else we
yeah.
want to talk about before we get on here? And what's your favorite line from the movie? What's your favorite line from the movie? Yeah.
Oh, well. I would
Life of
say
a
Oh,
Repo Man is always intense.
yeah.
yes, and that's what it ends on. And yeah, what's that say? Is a repo man some kind of, is that an archetype? Is that something that one kind of like falls into being? Does it, yeah, does it
Well, I'll
fulfill
say this. I
some
actually
sort
do
of
have a nuanced
archetype?
answer for you there.
Please.
I would say that kind of person, it's almost like a Sin City sort of Marv sort of observation here, but that kind of guy has always existed. The guy, the
Yeah.
adrenaline junkie kind of sort of deludes himself into thinking he has a code, but he's actually off the fucking rails.
Yeah.
And I guess what the comment that Alex Cox is trying to make is that in the Reagan America, that's the job, is like you're on the edge, man. And you're doing, who do you do it for? Are you fighting the system? No, you are the system. You're actually getting cars from some loser who just didn't want to pay his bills.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Bud, yeah, he says it at the beginning, some people they're afraid of confrontation. I thrive on it, or that's my job, or something like that, which is, so those people are out there. If you haven't met them already, God bless you. May your path keep winding that way. But yeah, watch out for these guys. Don't be a repo man. My favorite line is uh John Wayne's a fag. What's that?
John Wayne was a fag.
Not like Gary
Good
Cooper.
choice. Adam?
Not like Gary Cooper.
I think it's got to be when he says fuck that shit to Layla at
Right.
the
Yeah.
end when she asked him what about our relationship.
I love that
What
too.
relationship, by the way?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That was what was so perfect.
I mean,
It
I think they only had sex one time in the back of the car.
Yeah.
yeah.
And she's
And-
obviously the town bike.
She's a
Yeah.
spook.
And she tortured him.
Get out of here,
Yeah.
bud.
Oh, that was obviously a
Dude.
comment on that fucking study where they had the people press the button and they weren't really actually getting zapped.
The Milgram study.
The Milgram
Yeah.
study, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're
This guy was
giving-
tapped in. This guy was
they're-
fucking
yeah,
switched on.
It also shows like heavy shock therapy, which is all MK stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I thought during that scene when they broke in and got him out, it was like, oh
Mhm.
wow, they just cut out so much of what could have been a big hole in the budget by just doing
Yeah.
that on a security
Sorry
cam. God bless
to
them.
delay this a little more.
No, that's fine.
Was Marlene, was she like double agent working for the Rodriguez brothers, feeding them info and working at Helping Hand?
I think she was
was, like,
working at Helping
freelancing.
Hand genuinely, but she was actually working for like the Sandinista guys
Yeah,
who are
because,
affiliated with the Rodriguez brothers, but I don't think she was at Helping Hand for nefarious purposes, that she just worked there as her cover kind of thing.
But you think that the Rodriguez brothers had something to do with the ending that didn't happen, the Sandinista stuff?
Yeah, oh yeah, I thought that was implied heavily, yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, because she does like kind of give off that like air of like the female freedom fighter.
Well, she
you
was
know?
wearing a beret in that shot, in
Yeah,
that scene
yeah,
where
yeah,
she's
yeah.
at the Rodriguez brothers' apartment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah, and they were surrounded by big casks of ammo and
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So
Yeah, it was, yeah.
yeah,
An
okay.
old woman was like was loading
So
ammo or
funny.
something. Yeah.
and I think that was so funny. The Rodriguez brothers go, "We don't deal in drugs," and the mother's
They're
just
literally all hitting
nodding
a
her
joint.
head.
Yeah.
Well, but the mother's nodding her head, cooking, and she's like, "That's my boy. You don't do drugs."
They're
So
all smoking
funny.
joints at the time. That was the bit, I thought.
Yeah.
It's a green cigar.
All right. Anyway, Adam, anything you want to promote before we get out of here?
No, man. I'm just out here raising
Any
sheep and doing jujitsu and
causes?
going to church, trying to get through Lent, man. Like
Amen.
that's it.
Far out, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll give you the plug. Rising Tide Homestead. Excellent follow on Instagram. And I love to see what you're doing with the goats and the ducks and stuff. You got ducks?
Now I got some chickens, I got goats, I got sheep, and I got some dogs.
Far out,
Amen.
man. It's very wholesome. Love it. And yeah, so
That's a great promotion right
You can
there.
you can tell by the music which posts I make and which posts my wife does. So
Yeah.
I
How
kind
about
of got that vibe, actually.
how about
yeah.
this? If I get 5 follows from this show, I'll put something off the Repo Man soundtrack on one of the posts.
Far out. Yes. Follow Rising Tide Homestead on Instagram and just tell them that History Homos sent you.
Yeah.
Please do. I know, by the way, you're not going to get any because nobody who listens to the show has an Instagram.
Okay.
I'm kidding. We have a few. But anyway, for us, www.historyhomos.com for the RSS feed. We're also available on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, Rockfin, and most importantly, historyhomospod.substack.com. Please join us over there. If you like the show, you get 100% more show. One bonus episode every week. It's actually an episode, too. It's not just us going, we're not going to hit stop right now and then go, okay, geez, what are we going to talk about? That's not what we're doing. We have a real show. And it's very frequently, probably once a month or so, we do a movie analysis, much like we did tonight, or a novel analysis, or a piece of another just total history topic. So please go over there if you like the show. That's the best place to support us, and probably one of the better places to just actually like listen to it in one place. So historyhomospod.substack.com. Please join us there. And yeah, t.me/historyhomos is the channel. T.me/historyhomos chat is the chat on Telegram. At time of recording, still the friendliest place on the internet. Please help keep it that way. And again, I must say, if you enter within 1 hour, you have to say a racial slur or you're out. It's a very important, stringent policy we've implemented. And yeah, follow us across social media at History Homos Pod. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you'd like to buy a t-shirt, send me your shirt to historyhomos@gmail.com. Die with dignity. Patrick, you want to say anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, I do. It happens sometimes. People just explode. Natural causes.
You're all right.
Later, homo.